Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, November 22nd. It is Thanksgiving week. Um, Lots of stuff to get done. It's the week that we get ready to congregate around a good uh, selection of foods. Hopefully, no mashed potatoes and sweet potato casserole. We got some NBA to talk about. Good set of games last night. We'll get the show card up momentarily. I had a title, and then I decided to erase the title. I didn't want to be salty or controversial this morning. But man, the definition of unserious is Rudy Gobert, ladies and gentlemen. We are here, and we're going to end up talking about it. He had 31 minutes last night. He had 4 points with zero field goal attempts. Shout out to those who know. I'll get this tweet up here. I'll be back in about 30. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hope you're having a good day. The title of the room originally was going to be Rudy Gobert is an unserious player, but I took it down. I took it down a little too hostile in the morning. I watched that game and I don't understand how it's not working in Minnesota. But we'll get to that. They won. If you look up top, the very first tweet, it's actually a tweet about Slam Goods. They put the Kobe Bryant bundle on sale. Okay, now I have the trilogy, and they are sold out of the trilogy. They still have the retirement bundle, which is the retirement issue, as well as the um, dedication issue, right? And it's on sale for $24. It's $6 off, and you can still use promo code Hoop Spaces and save you an additional 15%. And if you haven't seen the tribute edition, you've got to go check it out online to look at the cover. But it is a phenomenal lifelong copy of memories of Kobe Bryant. So if you are a fan of basketball, a fan of greatness, or a fan of Kobe, check it out. It's definitely worth your time. And they are our sponsor. So we are brought to you by slamgoods.com. So make sure you go over there, and the promo code Hoop Spaces works on everything site wide, 15% off. Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod is here. She has a poll up there about Mark Price, and if you never watched Mark Price, it's okay. You're just of a certain age, but he was very good, and if it wasn't for one Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the Cleveland Cavaliers would have a different history. So check that out. Vote on the poll. The question is, do you think Mark Price is a Hall of Famer? I voted no. Unfortunately, the length of the career for me was the determining factor. Also up top, the definition of unserious. Like I said, it was going to be the title of the room. I took it down. I'll figure out something else. But I'm watching this Heat game, and he was having trouble against like Haywood Highsmith and Jamal Cain. It's dubious. I want to give a shout out to Justin Padden down below, JP the franchise, our Hoop Spaces YouTube coordinator, putting up more of his reaction videos. If you are down below, it's really easy. Check out the video and what he does. And if you want to do that, we've got a home for you. All you have to do is be consistent and give us some reactions videos of your favorite team, and we can get that up on YouTube. All right, just reach out. Um, we're also powered by Audio Labs, audiolabs.io. They actually invited us into the beta a while back to record this space and produce it and put it on YouTube for us, and we're thankful. I have another deal working with Audio Labs to get you some more content, and when we get more info, we'll be able to share it later. Other than that, hey, like and retweet the very first tweet for me to get up on stage. I'm going to go ahead and go through the games now. And I am going to apologize. I did not do the newsletter last night and this morning. Feeling a little under the weather. You could probably hear it slightly in my voice. The Cavaliers beat the Atlanta Hawks, ladies and gentlemen, 114-102. And I tell you what, I am here for it. This Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Donovan Mitchell, and Darius Garland matchup is just going to be entertaining all season long. Donovan Mitchell, 29-9, Trae Young, 25-10. The Pacers beat the Orlando Magic, 123-102. Big shout out to TJ McConnell, coming back fully healthy, 19 points, 10 assists, 3 steals. I really wanted the 76ers to trade for him. They traded for DeAnthony Melton, which I'm cool with. I still wanted them to trade for TJ McConnell because he's exactly what they need for a backup point guard. Franz Wagner in the Wolves, 20-6. Another game without Paolo. The Bulls shocked the Celtics in Chicago, 121-107. DeMar DeRozan, 28-8. Jason Tatum, 28, 11, and 7 in the loss. The Trailblazers fall to the Bucks in Milwaukee, 119-111, without Damian Lillard for a week or two. Anthony Simons, 29. Giannis back to his dominant self, 37, 7, and 6. And the most curious game, the Minnesota Timberwolves come back in the second half to beat the Miami Heat, 105-101. And before I let people up, I'm going to break this game down by myself first. I'm gonna skip it and go to the last games here. The Pelicans put one on the Warriors, 45 points. The Warriors sat everybody not named Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, 26 points again as a starter. Brandon Ingram, 34, 6 and 3. And let me go ahead and do this for the Pelicans fans to all of you around the league. No, the Pelicans are not going to trade you Brandon Ingram. Okay? Like, stop putting those trades out there on the timeline. It ain't happening. The Knicks beat the Thunder. They are now 500, 129-119. Jalen Brunson, 34-9. RJ Barrett, great game, 62% from the floor. SGA, 30-7. The Thunder have a problem. And the problem is that SGA is ready now. That team ain't ready. So we'll see how this plays out for the rest of the season. Questions across the timeline in NBA Twitter of, is SGA on Ja Morant's level? I'd be like, yeah. I mean, look what he's doing. Clippers, without Paul George and with a still ramping up Kawhi Leonard only giving 8 points, beat the Jazz, 121-114. Norm Powell, he's got his form back. And John Wall made a half-court buzzer beater. And it was a great game. It was a great game. I actually watched that one this morning. Pretty cool, because I could not, for the life of me, rewatch the Timberwolves and Heat. So Miami, and I said this yesterday, there has to be something going on in Miami. Jimmy Butler left the team on a road trip to go back to check out his knee. Tyler Hero didn't even leave for the road trip. He has an ankle injury. But then you have some cryptic tweets and comments from Kyle Lowry saying, if you're trying to get your numbers, you don't really need to be trying to get your numbers. You need to play as a team, and your numbers will come. And then, like, you look at what the minute allotment is during this rash of injuries, because Gabe Vincent is also out. Orlando Robinson didn't play. Duncan Robinson is out. Victor Oladipo is still out. Omar Yurtseven is out. Like they are really running up there with 7 or 8 guys, and you just have to ask yourself why. And I'm watching this game, and all I feel is angst, and I see it in Coach Eric Spoelstra's face. There's something going on, so people pay attention to Miami, and we'll see what happens. Currently 7-11, 1-7 and away, but that's not really the thing that made me upset. Rudy Gobert played 31 minutes yesterday. He finished with 4 points, 9 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks. Um, he went up against Bam Adebayo, who played 35 minutes, but he also had time against Dwayne Dedman and Haywood Highsmith. We're almost 20 games in to this Minnesota experiment, and the only thing that has really come through so far in these 18 games that they have played is that Rudy Gobert cannot play offense in the NBA. At $38 million in Utah, he was expected to be the defensive anchor and dominating rebounder. And he was able to put up, double doubles on 70% of his games played. And people will say double doubles and triple doubles are empty statistics, except that they're not, because it shows consistency, and it also gives you a baseline, a floor of where you are going to be, and it makes it a lot easier for a coach to build off of that floor. And when they made this trade, knowing Cat prefers to be a more finesse forward, you would think that it would work. But for whatever reason, Chris Finch has not figured out how to get Rudy Gobert involved in the offense, to the point now where I'm simply asking, is it really his fault any longer? Because there were several times where Rudy Gobert had either inside position or could have sealed off his defender, and he didn't do it. Anyway, I can't really understand what's going on with Miami. But I also can't understand what's going on with Rudy Gobert. All right, if you want to come on up, raise your hand. I just had to say that. It was so awful to watch. It was just so bad. If you didn't catch that game, that's totally cool. I understand. We got Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod. We also have Bakari up here as well. Good morning, Malika. How are you? Uh oh.
Do the soundboard. Use the soundboard. Yes.
Hey man, Bakari, you are a little animated today. Good morning. How are you?
I'm not really feeling well today, to be honest.
Yeah, neither am I. I feel sick. It's
I
a bad feeling.
I know.
All right. Well,
Want to hear some stats?
yeah, I do. I love stats.
The Celtics were 4 of 18 on open 3-point attempts and 11 of 16, 11 of 26 in my bad, on wide open 3-point attempts. The Bulls were 5 of 7 on very contested 2-point field goal percentages and 19 on 31 of tight coverage. Basically, the Bulls were making their shots and the Celtics weren't. But that's not the only thing. I've seen a war criminal. This is some war criminal activity going on by Joe Mazzulla. He played this man, Al Horford, 35 minutes in November. Does he want to kill the man? Like, I love my elders, but we're not supposed to do that to our elders. Put in Blake at that point. If we were losing that bad, we were losing by like 11, 12. And Al Horford was not getting nothing up on the board. Like, he was not doing nothing. Like, you missed, I think it was like 0 of 8, and the announcers were I don't want to curse on whose space this. I want to keep it family friendly. But they were being very rude to him. Like, come on now. Like, he's not supposed to drop a double like Rudy Gobert should. But he's but still, like, you gotta calm down. And then Joe Mazzulla, like he's learning. I understand he's an intercoach. He's not supposed to be there, right? But he's learning, and I feel it. But when you're playing Al Horford for 35 minutes and he's not buying a bucket, like come on now, just put in Noah Vonleh,
Luke Cornett.
Come on now,
put in Luke Cornett
or Cornett.
Let me hear you say it.
Yeah, there's Cornett too. Cornett's all right. He's pretty good, but he's not. He can't be a viable. Like he could be the third option, you know. When you ask, like I've seen reports of the Celtics trying to go for Jakob Poeltl. Like we need to do that. I don't know if we don't have a first round pick this year because we traded to the Spurs. Actually no, that was last year. We don't have a pick this year because we traded for the Daniel Tice trade, the trade for Malcolm Brogdon.
To Indy.
Malcolm Brogdon, yeah. We don't have a pick this year, so I don't know how he's gonna get it done. Maybe Peyton Pritchard. I'm sorry.
I hate to tell you, Bakari, they are not budging off of the 2 first rounders.
That's why. No, I'm not giving you 2 first round picks. I don't care. You're getting Peyton Pritchard and maybe Luke Cornett. That's it.
Oh yeah, throw in Luke Cornett. Yeah. Hey, good job,
he,
man.
He blocked shots.
Give him a round of applause.
He blocks shots and he shoots threes. And he's cheap.
Oh, we just ran Nat out the room, giving Luke Cornett props. We got to get it back in here. So the Bulls are a team that is also considered partially unserious. They are 7-10, 5-5 on the road. It was Zach LaVine who decided to actually show up and hit his shots. Patrick Williams had a good game as well, but they just hit their shots. They had 48% from deep.
Yeah, if they shoot shots.
Yeah, if they shot their season average, the Bulls still lose this game.
What's their season average, Chris?
Well, I just moved off there, but it was on threes. It's 37.
Yeah.
So that's 9 points, right? That's 9 points in difference. So,
dang.
All right, Malika Walker is here with us. Malika, good morning.
Good morning. I'm a little shocked that you voted no on the Mark Price admission, especially when college is included when you for the Naismith Hall of Fame. So I'm a little shocked because Mark Price should be in, considering who they've let in. But I'm good. I mean, tonight's game is whatever, considering the big 3 for Philly won't be playing, but looking forward to the Nets game tonight. And and last night was interesting. Kawhi is working his way back, but it's going to take a little while. And I was thinking about the conversation yesterday on Kawhi. I mean, I'm pulling for him. Kawhi is one of my favorite players to watch. I didn't see him in so long, so I am hoping he returns to form. But we'll see what happens. But it was nice seeing John Wall and the Clippers get that W last night. But what are we going to do about rest, Chris? Because the Warriors resting all their players when pretty much the whole starting lineup, when we're not even a quarter. I guess we are a quarter way through. Seems kind of early to rest the team, but maybe.
Oh, that's twice. This is the second time they've done this.
I feel bad for the ticket holders in those areas. I go to see my team, but some people do. I feel bad for the the local team because the Pels fans are there for the Pels, but of course some of them wanted to see the Warriors. And I was shocked when I saw the score. Then when I looked at who was on the floor, I was like, what is are you serious? So that part was disconcerting. The rest situation that's an issue. That's the whole team pretty much just loony on the floor. Come on, guys. So that's my takeaways from. And Boston will be fine. It was one loss, they'll be all right. Boston to me is the number 1 team in the East, period. So
it was such a weird night that there are actually multiple candidates for the Tony Snell Award, and normally you get one and that's it. But you have Dante DiVincenzo from the Warriors game. He had 15 minutes of good cardio. Al Horford had 35 minutes of good cardio. Rudy Gobert had 31 minutes of great cardio. Like he had his cardio was so good that you could see he had entered the flow state at the end of the game, sealing it on free throws. Like it's insane. So we got a lot there. Micah, you're up here. Good morning, Micah. How are you?
How you doing, Chris?
My eyes are still recovering from last night's assault.
Oh, which one are you talking about? Because I'm pretty sure we watched the same game.
Oh, every game I turned to was pretty bad.
Right.
But I'm really talking about the Rudy Gobert game. I'm still pissed. Like it was just bad.
I mean, it's what do you expect, Chris? That's who he is. Like is he an elite paint protector, paint defender? Absolutely. He's still that guy, in my opinion. But as far as expecting anything else out of him, then I don't know what to tell you. He doesn't know how to take advantage of mismatches. He doesn't really have any kind of post game, and so there you go. I'm surprised he wasn't really getting his normal amount of rebounds like he was. But I mean, the main games I watched was the Warriors, and I was watching the Legends. I'm trying to see how our young guys are looking. I am kind of liking what I'm seeing, not going to lie. I hope the turnovers get cleaned up a little bit. I think it's just going to take time for them, and I think it's going to take time for that whole Warriors bench, man, because outside of Jordan Poole, holy cow, they are down bad. I don't see them being competitors if they come across a team with any kind of depth. I don't see them being competitors. It's just like they have the exact opposite problem as us. Like we are Luka and bench reliant, while they are Steph and starter reliant. And either one of those units will get us murked, and that's how I see it right now. But
appreciate it.
I
part of the reason why that he's doing this is to just simply prove a point. I think like you throw Kuminga out there for 40 minutes and you say, well, this is why you're not getting regular time, right? Like you're not in the right position in the offense. You're taking bad shots. And yet at the same time, you have to do it in a way to shore him up so by the time the playoffs come that he'll be ready. Yeah, this is bad. Like it was a real bad loss. But I think it was more so planned to really get through to the players saying, hey, look, we're not where we need to be. And it's not Steph's fault, right? It's not really Draymond's fault. He's been quiet. He's been doing his job. Clay's still working back. Wiggins had a bad game last time, but it's ugly. Like they can't win on the road. Neither can the Heat, and that is something that doesn't really normally happen. You don't have teams that were good for a long period of time just wake up and say, I can't win on the road. It's odd. It's really weird this year. I'm enjoying it. T Rexy of Nets Twitter. What's up, T Rexy? How you doing, bro? Good morning.
What's good, man? I'm gonna make this real quick since I work here. I'm gonna make 3 things before I make a basketball call. I wish everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. That's one. RP Jason David Frank, aka Tommy for the Power Rangers. And the last one, Mr. Dwayne Kemp. Leave Latalia Bryant alone. Stop stalking that girl. Please and thank you. His name is Dwayne Kemp. You can find him on Twitter. He is stalking Kobe Bryant's daughter, the late Kobe Bryant's daughter. Leave the girl alone. All right, back to my basketball question. My basketball. I can't wait for tonight's game, man. I can't wait for Ben Simmons and against the Philadelphia fan. He gonna take all the heat as he can, man. This is gonna be a. I expect the Nets blow the Sixers out because they got Sixers not playing with nobody. But the Nets need to take care of business. They can't play like defense like the against the Grizzlies with the underman. They gotta kill them, stop them throw because they gotta play the Raptors tomorrow for back to back. They need to take care of business. That's all I have to say. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't know the story, um, Natalia Bryant, Kobe's 19-year-old daughter, she attends USC. Has a restraining order out, a court order protection against Mr. Kemp, who showed up at her sorority and also at the school in one of the buildings where she took classes and was just like roaming the halls around looking for her, and has sent several, messages and as well as purchased firearms. So like it's real out there. Um, Appreciate you putting out the positive vibes. So yeah, like he man, it's just so sad. In regards to Ben coming back, I said, give him 30 games, and we're almost at 20. And if he is healthy, you see what production he has been able to produce coming off the bench. Question that I have is long term. I don't think he stays on the bench. I mean, he probably starts. I like what I see, but there's other work that needs to be done with the Nets that isn't going to be patched up by Kyrie's return or Ben's return, and that is the health of Seth Curry, Joe Harris, and the inability for Nicholas Claxton to guard bigs. He can guard everybody but a big, apparently. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I'd like to see Ben Simmons succeed. I don't want them to win, but he can still have a good game. It'd be interesting and entertaining. And if you want some more Nets on your timeline, shout out to Nets Kingdom AJ, who's in the building. You can scroll up or down to find him. He and Saint, they do a great job with Brandon. Malika pops in there. T Rexy hops up there, and some other notables of Nets Twitter. If you need Nets on your timeline, there you go. All right. The other game that I wanted to talk about was the actual shocker, in my opinion, was the Clippers and the Jazz. I did not see this as a Clippers win. I watched it this morning. I did. I mean, I knew the score. To see Reggie Jackson continually have success warms my heart because I remember watching him at Boston College, and he was a one man show there. And last night he was a one man show for the Clippers. 27 points, 36 minutes. Norm Powell came off the bench, gave 30, and somehow, some way, the Clippers managed to beat the Jazz. It's really wonky. It was really weird, and it's good to see Kawhi Leonard play. He had 8 points on 4 for 11 in 23 minutes. And if you actually watch the game, um, I think what we're going to see is more Kawhi initiating the offense to limit his physical impact on offense. And I think I like that because if he's able to go in there and play 28 minutes and be, let's say, a more athletic, better scoring Draymond Green without needing the requirements of rebounding, I like that as a fit for the Clippers, especially if Paul George comes back healthy from a hamstring. What is it? Hamstring, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a message from my son's school. All right, Malika, question to you. You said earlier that you were surprised that I said no for Mark Price. When is the space that you have planned talking about Mark Price and the Cleveland Cavaliers? And then you also have a show coming up with Mahmoud Abdul Rauf in his documentary and book. I just want to make sure that you got some time to tell the good people what you have coming up.
Yeah, it's a good question. Because I'm supposed to talk about Mahmoud Abdul Rauf's book on November 30th. I'll be ready to discuss that on that date. Um, I don't know. I may move it if I don't have a co-host. I'm just feeling lately like I don't like doing dissertations. Like I'm in a class. So, but I'm thinking Friday I'm going to talk about Petrovic. I'm going to be I'll do a trip down memory lane on Drazen Petrovic. I felt like I did Bernard King first, but I'm thinking I'm reading this book on him, and I really want to talk about the complete career of Petrovic. So that may be my next room. And next week is Mahmoud Abdul Rauf next Wednesday. I'll schedule that, set the reminder, and I'm thinking soon I'm going to have a room on the 80s era Cleveland Cavaliers. I watched the game. I didn't watch a lot of last night's games. They were just booty to me. So I looked at a historical game. I looked at games 4 and 5 actually, but I tweeted about game 5 of the 1989 first round series between the Cavaliers and the Bulls. Um, I'll put that thread up, but it was cool watching it the whole game and looking at the play on both ends. And that's when I was looking at Mark Price and Craig Elo and Ron Harper and Brad Daugherty. That was a pretty solid team they had back then. And they were playing on both ends, and I really enjoyed that game. It was better than what I was seeing on screen last night. So I'm definitely going to do a room in that team. I just want to make sure I do it right. So I'm going to take a little bit more time looking at some games from that era. And yeah, so I'll get back to you on that. But Friday, I just got to pick a time on the Petrovic room. It's time to talk about Petrovic.
Yeah, nah, he one of the most fearless players. Would just talk trash immensely to everybody. Um, Quick note about the New Orleans Pelicans game. The New Orleans Pelicans just scored another basket. This
I
time it was
mean,
Devontae Graham.
look who they were playing though. Like they were playing to be the team off the bench for the Warriors, pretty much. Like literally no starters, but Looney. Like what do we do? And they put Poole in there, but what
Looney
are
only got 5 minutes too.
what are we doing here?
So, oh wow, another Devontae Graham 3-pointer.
Like that was torture. I was like, I'm not watching any. That's what made me look up the games on YouTube and on League Pass. I was like, the classic games. I was like, I'd rather watch a classic game that was a nail biter than watch this. Even though I know the outcome, I still want to watch it
Yeah,
because
it was
no,
rough.
no, this
It
is not
was,
it. And I tweeted
yeah.
it like it was like really a live game right now. I was getting inboxes because people was like, I am not commenting on this, but I will plug the inbox, and that's basically what happened, which was funny. But yeah, that's because of the quality, and I said I'm gonna do this more often because watching classic games are fun when you have the whole game and not just highlights.
Yeah, it was like even Warriors Twitter was off last night too. Like it was just bad.
What are they going to celebrate exactly? Yes, yeah. I mean, what is there to even look at for them? Like,
Mm.
I mean,
I
it was bad all around, and then Wiseman is still getting negative plus minuses in the G League. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, let's not that is not looking good all of a sudden.
Like I respect the journey of the player, because some players takes longer to develop. But Kaminga, I thought Kaminga would take a leap. He's not where I thought he would be, but it's possible he'll get there. I'm not one of those people that discounts a player on the first few years. I think you need to give them at least 3 years. Sometimes centers more and especially Wiseman. He didn't play enough games. I mean, he needs more. He needs more time. But with Kaminga, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, the word coming out is that Kaminga just isn't a high IQ player at the moment. EK Johnson has joined us up on stage, and if you are down below and you want to join, go ahead and raise your hand. Come on up here and give your take for last night's NBA action, or we should say misaction, because there's a lot of misaction out there. The New York Knicks beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 129. God, man, the Pelicans scored again. 129, 119 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. And EK actually summed this up pretty succinctly regarding SGA. I'm going to go ahead and let him say it. It's down there in the chat box. And if you can't actually come up and speak, you can hop in the chat box and say what's up and share what your takes are, just like Justin Patton has done. EK, good morning. Your take on SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder being a mid-team, and then whatever else you got from last night.
Yes, sir, Chris. Good morning to you and good morning to the citizens of Hoop Spaces. I hope you guys are doing well. Chris, how are you this morning?
I'm hoping that I don't have COVID, right? But I'm telling you, I feel like crap.
I'm very sorry, man. I hope you get better in a very, very quick amount of time, especially with the holidays coming up. But to kind of expound on my SGA point, obviously, we've all been watching basketball. We've all been covering the NBA since the beginning of the season. And we know that SGA is probably one of the top 7 guards in the NBA right now. And unfortunately, when you look at the results, when you look at him play, he's putting up these amazing performances. But unfortunately, he doesn't really have the help around him to lift his team towards the top of the Western Conference. So that's why I made the comparison to the year after Kevin Durant left. That's when Russell Westbrook averaged a 30-point triple-double. OKC had the 6th seed that year, and he won the MVP. And part of the reason why he won the MVP wasn't just because of the triple-double, it's because he was also able to lift his team to the 6th seed with the talent that he had around him. And if SGA can do something like that, I'm not saying he's going to be the MVP, but I am saying that will vault him into a top tier level status where people can't necessarily forget who he is, or we can't just look at him and say, oh, he's okay, but he's on the Oklahoma City Thunder. It would vault him into sort of top tier status amongst some of the guards in the NBA. But in terms of all of the other games, I agree with Malika. They were all pretty trash. I wasn't necessarily surprised by what Steve Kerr did sitting all his guys, because I feel like he's in this stage where he's like, you know what, let's just try to rest our guys and we have this under control, and we have championship pedigree, we know what it takes to get there. But because the young guys look so bad, and this is the worst I've seen a Golden State bench look probably outside of the 2019 year. They look horrible. I mean, they look really bad. Kuminga looks lost on defense. Moody is on and off most nights. When you put Jordan Poole in there by himself with a whole bunch of bench guys, that allows him the ability to show what he can do. But we already know what he can do. And he turns into a guy who can score a lot of points, but doesn't necessarily have a big impact on winning. He was a minus 25 last night with 26 points on 50% shooting. That tells you all you need to know, right? Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got in terms of the NBA. But the NBA was so trash last night that I want to shout out the Gonzaga Bulldogs of the NCAA women's team, because they upset Tennessee last night. And I want to give a big shout out to their forward, Yvonne Ejim, who is amazing. And also I want to give a big shout out, and I know Chris will appreciate this, to not Keegan Murray, but his twin brother, Chris Murray, who also plays for Iowa, who had a 30 ball last night against lowly Omaha. So if you guys are into college basketball, I would say on nights like last night, when all the NBA games are trash, when Rudy Gobert looks like he shouldn't be able to be on the NBA floor, switch over to ESPN, ESPN2, something like that. Watch some college. It'll do you some good.
Why the shade to Omaha, bro?
Because they're lowly.
Omaha.
Because they are, and they know they are, and it's okay. And if there are any Omaha fans in here, I doubt it. But if there are any Omaha fans in here, I'm sorry, no disrespect. It is what it is.
Chris Murray will be a 2nd round draft pick. Maybe if he continues to play as well as he is, he makes it into the 1st. But he can hoop too. And shout out to the lady Zags. You're right. They did upset the Vols, who I swear, like opening up in the season, like they are not looking Vol-like.
Just to say one more point, there's been a lot of upsets in women's college basketball already this year. So if you guys aren't in tune with women's college basketball, I would advise you guys get in tune. There were like maybe 5 upsets over the weekend. This upset includes 6 over the past 5 days. Like, it's been a lot. So tune in,
And
please.
and Tennessee and Texas have 7 of them. Like it's bad.
Yep. Louisville has 2.
Yeah. In fact, I'll actually use this as a segue to go through the top 25 scores from last night for your women's college ball. The South Dakota State Jackrabbits upset Louisville 65-55. Virginia Tech outlasts Kentucky 82-74. Utah beats Alabama 93-86, and that was another close game. Utah is undefeated, likely to probably bounce up into the top 12 when the rankings come out. Oregon 66, Southern Utah 54. Texas almost put up 40 plus on Rutgers 82-44. UCLA beats Marquette 66-58, and as EK broke, the Lady Zags beating Tennessee 73-72, and the Tennessee Volunteers are 2-4 and not looking good at all. Last night in the men's game, there's actually a really cool game with Creighton. Creighton's back. I don't know if y'all remember when Creighton, shot up there. They're back. They're actually doing fairly well again, and it's just really cool how they're able to go and basically beat teams that recruit at a higher level. Texas beat Northern Arizona 73-48. Duke beats Bellarmine 74-57. That has got to be a D2 school. Arkansas beats Louisville 80-54. Creighton beats Texas Tech 76-65. Arizona put up 101 on Cincinnati, but they also gave up 93. San Diego State beat Ohio State 88-77. And as EK already said, Chris Murray, 30 points with the 164 victory, Iowa over lowly Omaha. There you go. Back to the NBA. Knicks and Thunder played. RJ Barrett looked really good. 25 points, 8 boards, good defense. Quentin Grimes getting the starting nod as well next to him and Jalen Brunson. Fournier has not played. He's just sitting there collecting a paycheck. And he's likely to be dealt, maybe even bought out. Mitchell Robinson is back. He started, but he only played 13 minutes. No foul trouble. Just bringing him back slowly. Isaiah Hartenstein filled in for 16. Obi Toppin off the bench was 2 for 11. Julius Randle 25 and 11 in the win. Oklahoma City, SGA 30 points. Lou Dort 24. Josh Giddey 18. Everybody else. There you go. There's your recap. If you have anything you guys want to add to this game, go ahead. If not, I'm going to start talking about Tyrese Halliburton and why he is the third best point guard in the league.
Chris, you said he's the third best?
He is the third best point guard in the league.
I thought you would have said second, but I would love to hear your reasoning for why he's third.
You know what's really funny is on the I have my style of VORP with a couple of tweaks, and he's actually number 2. He's rated number 2 behind only Luka, and he's rated just above Steph. However,
didn't Cleveland play last night also?
Oh yeah, they beat the Hawks.
They beat the Hawks, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get there. Shoot, let me go ahead and bring this Raider up. So, the reason why Curry fell to number 3 is because road wins bump you up, and since they aren't able to win on the road, he's kind of plateaued, and he's not going to be able to go up until the Warriors start winning on the road again. Whereas Tyrese Halliburton, the Pacers have been winning on the road, so he gets a little bump in terms of his ranking, and he is ranked 2 in production, but 3rd overall. Whereas Curry is ranked 2nd overall, but 3rd in production.
Do you factor in the assist to turnover ratio when you're doing your VORP for traditional point guards or people who are listed at the point guard position? It's just a question.
So yeah, it's field goal percentage, 3 points, free throws, points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, assist to turnovers, assist, secondary assists, double doubles, skewed to away production.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. JFK is up here, probably drinking Pedialyte after watching Rudy Gobert play for 31 minutes and get 0 shots up except 4 free throws to defeat the Miami Heat. JFK, good morning. How are you feeling, sir? Are you okay?
Chris, yeah, I feel good because we got soccer today, man. Argentina lost, so we got to understand that Messi is not a GOAT no more. He was never a GOAT. Like, if you don't win something, you know what? Messi's kind of like the LeBron James of, not the LeBron James, but the James Harden of soccer. That's exactly who he is. He's going to score a lot, but he's not going to win anything. You get what I'm saying, Chris? Like, there's no way that you're the best player in North, South, Central, East, West America, and you can't win a World Cup. I mean, we can talk about shouts out to Saudi Arabia. The fix was not in today. Stop playing with him. But moving on, Chris. Do we really got to talk about this, Chris? Look.
No, we really don't. We really don't.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead. Well, we talked to I gave a monologue about it. It was the ugliest game of the season across the NBA.
Chris, you can't even make fun of Rudy Gobert getting the Tony Snell Award because the man sunk all his free throws and he's a 60% free throw shooter. Chris, I'd rather see Rudy Gobert play than Hayward Highsmith. Like, come on, man. Like, it's killing me right now. It's killing me. But shouts out to Jamal Cain, undrafted free agent. We saw a little bit of something from him last night. It looks like he might be that enforcer that we need if Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler are not in. Bam is still struggling just because there's no complimentary piece around him. And again, we still see the rookie for the first half and we don't see him again. It's like he disappears. Max Strus, I'm going to have to give him the middle finger when I see him. That was a horrendous game last night, and I understand your minutes and your volume has been pushed up due to injuries or whatnot, but I don't give a damn, Max. Like, this is the Heat culture. You're not supposed to do things like that, especially when you have open threes. We played a great game going up 15 points, but guys, when you understand you're watching the game going up 15 points, you go do something else and you come back and then it's something that you didn't expect. Like, that can really ruin your night right before you go to bed, especially if your fantasy football team ain't doing so good and you betted on the 49ers defense to not do good. But again, the FIFA World Cup saved me. Thank God we saw today. It was a little bit exciting. But Chris, I think I'm about a couple more games away for talking about the trade. And I've never done this as a Heat fan, talk about the trade this early. I mean, not trade, but the draft this early. I'm going to have to go start looking at prospects. I got to start hitting up some general managers, especially you, Chris. What do you see out the Midwestern section for being the Kings scouter and recruiter out of that area? Because it is not good, Chris. I might be pressing the red alert button right now today. And here's the thing, Chris. We can go back and look at the offseason. Pat Riley is just a stubborn guy, and I love him for it, but I despise him for it because if he had a better relationship with Danny Ainge, I'm pretty sure we could have got Donovan Mitchell. I'm pretty sure we could have got a Malcolm Brogdon. I'm pretty sure we could have got, somebody. We didn't have to get held hostage for the Kyrie and KD situation. Like, I understand he likes catching whales. I don't know what the captain's name in Moby Dick is, but that's who Pat Riley is. Like, this is all he tries to do. Sometimes it's a little bit of annoying because we don't need these whales. We just need players. And we understand we just need players because guess what, Chris? We're doing this with undrafted free agents. And to be honest with you, I'm not that mad because they are undrafted free agents. I would be a lot more mad if we spent our money on like a James Harden who's injured and a PJ Tucker who's conditioning to stay fit for 40. You get what I'm saying? Got to have that 6-pack for 40. That's a good goal to have. 6-pack by 40. But yeah, it's really bad, Chris. So let me go ahead and press my red button. Press. And yeah, we're on alert time right now, Chris. Where's the trades at?
Captain Ahab is the name. Some of the most famous quotes of Moby Dick. I know not all that may be coming, but be it what it will, I'll go to it laughing. Right? Famous quote about his madness chasing the whale and his impending certain doom.
Pat Riley.
EK, hop in here.
Yeah, JF, I got a quick question, bro. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it wasn't just I think the entire league was held hostage not by the KD and Kyrie situation this past summer, but from Minnesota's trade and how they valued Rudy Gobert. I know when that happened, a lot of people were looking around the league, specifically at the KD situation, and they were comparing it to that and saying, well, if Rudy Gobert is worth this, you're going to have to give away your whole team for a guy like Kevin Durant or a guy like Donovan Mitchell or something like that, which is what kind of slowed some of the movement on the trade market for some of the bigger stars this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was the thing that sort of slowed everything up specifically.
I wouldn't say it slowed. I think it popped everything off when it came to big stars making that move. Because I think if you would have saw maybe a Malcolm Brogdon go first before Rudy Gobert, you probably wouldn't hear so early about the KD situation. And I think that's where it went, because as soon as we heard Rudy Gobert, we're like, oh shit, big fish. And then we went straight to KD and Kyrie, and we're like, okay, what y'all doing? Instead of just being like, what else can we do? Like that's the thing difference between me and Pat, right? Like I'll go looking for that hidden gem. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's found those hidden gems before with the Shane Battier or even I'll say like Antoine Walker. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not the big superstar names, but it's the names that can get you over the hump. And you stack up on that with veteran minimums. But what happens is that this new thing that's in the NBA right now, where it's like the big contracts, you got to stack up all these players on the same team or whatnot. Pat Riley's not in the business to do that. And I think what happened is that when he drafted Nikola Jovic, he kind of was settled on not having PJ Tucker there. And I think he was settled on moving forward with the season because he found his replacement, even though it wasn't going to get the same amount of minutes or whatnot. But I think where he did fail is bringing in like a extra piece, like what he did last year with Keith Morris or something like that. Even though Keith Morris didn't play that much, at least he did something to help out our depth so we can see somebody else shine. But I think what's happening right now is we're throwing everybody to the fire, and we're just seeing what becomes of it. And right now, you do see a couple good things, but it's not winning.
Unfortunately, what you're going through is when they traded for Jimmy Butler and gave him the max, right? And then they had to re-sign Bam. The moment that they gave Duncan Robinson, they had zero flexibility. All right, the moment they re-signed him, that took all of their flexibility.
True.
So this wasn't like they had zero moves. They even if PJ Tucker stayed, because they could have used his bird rights to re-sign him. They didn't think he was leaving, but they weren't going to give him 3 and 30, right? So like you're looking, and then you give Tyler, his contract extension. Like there's zero room for moves. Depot isn't worth anything because he's not even playing. Caleb Martin can't be traded, but he's only $6.5 million, right? No, who's banging on the door to get Dwayne Dedman? Like, you've got nothing. Like
Chris,
Max, what?
I'll be honest with you. I think we're better off re-signing Goran Dragic. I think that's where it killed us. That would have saved us a lot more money, probably about $20 million off the cap sheet without signing Lowry. I think we could have added on a couple more guys and maybe kept a couple more guys. But I think what Pat Riley loves is his veterans. And that's another thing that kills me, because sometimes he gets someone they're a little bit too out of their prime.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry. It'll be okay. Maybe.
Chris, what What are we looking like at the 7th pick, man?
We'll get to that later. Bringing back the Tyrese Halliburton discussion, ladies and gentlemen. I have him second in production, third in overall ranking. Curry's number 2. He's third in production.
Do you have Darius Garland?
I'll get there in a minute. Luka's 1. SGA has jumped to number 4. DeJounte is number 5, followed by Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, Ja Morant, Darius Garland, and De'Aaron Fox. Just outside, Kyle Lowry. That is, like, y'all be killing Kyle Lowry. He is outside the top 10 of NBA point guards this season. And y'all are skewering him.
Chris, I said it yesterday. It's proven he got to the under 18%, and he's been able to stay in games and actually have some legs under him throughout these games. So shouts out to Kyle Lowry. He did what he had to do to make his money, and he's showing it. He dropped almost a triple-double the other night. He's dropping almost 20 points a game right now and like 12 assists or 10 assists or something like that. So he's doing his thing. That's the only bright spot right now. So as long as he can keep that up, then and we can get our players back, we should be okay.
All right, so I'm about to drop another bomb on y'all. Are you ready? Y'all ready?
No.
Guess who's number 3? Who's ranked 3rd in the league? Not just point guards, but the league in production. Tyrese Halliburton. The only 2 players that are doing better than Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic. Let that sink in.
Who's number 1?
Luka. And Tatum is closing in on Luka, by the way. So like this whole, I'm gonna have to get used to this idea of Jason Tatum, the MVP. I just don't like the Boston Celtics. It's one of the last carryover of my vestige of fandom from my youthful days, and it has to do with Dana Barros and Dino Raja. By the way, nasty business between the Sixers and Celtics in those days. Jason Tatum currently averaging 30. All the numbers will be rounded to the nearest whole number. 38 and 5, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 double-doubles, 47% from the field. I think he's almost 40 from 3, averaging 3 3-pointers per game. Luka is 49 from the field, 76 from the free throw line, 34 points, 9 boards, 8 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 8 double-doubles. Tyrese Halliburton, 20 points, 5 boards, 11 dimes, 2 steals, 10 double-doubles, 50% from the floor, 3 3-pointers per game, 86 from the free throw, over 40 from 3. Tyrese Halliburton is here, ladies and gentlemen, and he ain't going nowhere. And we need to understand that we have a new player on the field who's not going to get the credit he deserves for the phenomenal season that he's having. Tyrese Halliburton.
He was good before he came over here, though. He was good when he was in Sacramento.
Oh, by the way, who leads the league in double-doubles? Nikola Vucevic, Bobby Portis, and Tyrese Halliburton. And last night he did it again, as the Indiana Pacers beat the Magic by 21 points. Convincing win, 123-102. Shout out to Bol Bol. The Bobo Express. I'm still on it. This was a wonky game too. Nobody scored over 20 except for Benedict Mathurin, who's higher rated on the Rookie of the Year board than most people want to give credit for. Franz Wagner had 20 on the nose. Tyrese Halliburton played 27 minutes. He had 18 points, 14 assists, 4 boards, 7 for 12 when Rick Carlisle said, you know what, you can take the night off. TJ McConnell ended up finishing with 19 points, 10 assists, 3 steals, 5 boards, 7 for 8, and now he's hitting threes. He was 3 for 4 from deep. The Pacers are 10-6. Buy or sell the Indiana Pacers as a top 6 team in your NBA Eastern Conference? That's the question. I'll get the poll up in a moment. We'll go to Malika first. Buy or sell these Indiana Pacers?
Not at the end of the season. For now, yes.
All right. EK. Micah.
Man, for right now, as a top 6 seed, I can see it because they actually Tyrese is here, just got to deal with it, and they got some guys. Shout out Miles Turner, man. He's been balling lately, so good for him. Contract year, maybe he'll do something. I don't know, but as a top 6 seed, I'll buy him. Why not?
All right. I like that. JFK, buy or sell?
So,
Why?
until Miami is about 20 games under 500, I'm going to go ahead and sell them.
All right. Cool. I'm buying. I am buying Indiana Pacers stock. We will go to Breeze. What's up, Breeze? Appreciate you stopping up. Go ahead and talk about your Knicks Pacers real quick, because I know that's where you can be found. And then buy or sell the Pacers, and then you can give us your thoughts on the Knicks win last night against the Thunder.
I appreciate you, my dog. I'm gonna retreat the show card real quick. Gotta, do what we doing here. But I actually, I am on Knicks Spaces doing Good Morning Knicks with King Beej on there. The schedule is kind of fluctuating right now, but we get it together. I did want to talk about the Indiana Pacers though, because if Benedict Mathurin can get to the point where he can start on this team, hopefully Buddy Hield is out of there by the trade deadline. This is a solid team, man. This is a solid team. I've been watching them. Benedict Mathurin is my favorite rookie. They got guys that just come in and out. The defense they have athletic guys. They got rebounders. They got bigs. They got they wings. I'm not really a fan of their wings yet, but they got a very solid guard play. Man, Halliburton, man, you look up, he's averaging about 13, 14, 15 assists. It's crazy. And he's still draining the 3. So this could stay while other teams is up and down. I mean, they've been consistent so far. The formula that they got, it could stick, man. It could stick for the Pacers.
Yeah, this is a weird team. You don't like redundancies in roster construction. But like in this case, it's really weird, but the redundancies have actually worked out to their advantage. Jalen Smith leads the team in rebounds at 8 per game. He was, summarily dismissed from Phoenix because apparently he couldn't play basketball, but he's actually able to play basketball because he is a professional. Currently this season, he's averaging 11 points, 8 boards, and assists, and I think almost a block per game. And he comes off the bench now because Miles Turner is back. And then you have a couple other long, wings and just dynamic defenders. Isaiah Jackson, O'Shea Brissett, they are great off the bench. They're going to be like Torrey Craig. They're going to have 12-year careers. Chris Duarte can step in for Buddy Hield to launch as many threes in their Rick Carlisle chuck it up 2.0 offense. Buddy Hield, I mean, that's all he does is take threes, but he's movable. The contract's movable. They would be able to move him, put Mathurin in, still keep Duarte coming off the bench by starting Nesmith, who they picked up from Boston, who's turned out to be a pretty decent rotational player. Finally getting run. He's averaging 8 points. So he'll be able to come off the bench. They have a top 5 backup point guard in TJ McConnell, who does everything enough that Tyrese Halliburton does as a starter, so you don't have a drop off. And like, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So I am buying Indiana Pacers stock. Not buying Rick Carlisle stock. He will still be Rick Carlisle, and he'll get you to the playoffs. But like, for whatever reason, he kind of stalls out, except for that one run with Dirk. Go ahead, Breeze. What you got?
Yeah, once they get to the point where they could get Benedict Mathurin about 30 minutes a game, man, they're gonna be tough. Right now, they just trying to figure it out because they just got a lot, like you said, a lot of redundancies. But if they could clear something out by the deadline, get Buddy Hield up out of there, so Mathurin could start, it'll be kind of Cleveland Cavalier last year-esque in Indiana. But yeah.
Well, he has 28 minutes per game. He has 0 starts, by the way.
Yeah,
zero starts.
Travesty.
28 minutes per game, 19 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. He fouls a little bit too much for my take because he's an aggressive player. But like, he should be starting. And the only reason why he's not starting is because Buddy Hield is still hitting shots. Malika, hop in here.
Question: what if Sabonis was still on this team? Where do you think there would be? But I agree with Mathurin. Like, he looks really good, and he should be starting. But he'll be starting by midway through the season. To me,
I don't even think it's midway. I think he starts probably around Christmas. He's too dynamic.
Possible. Yeah, that's possible. And it sounds like this is your adjacent team since you're local.
But oh no, I don't have adjacent teams.
Okay, if you say so. But what if Sabonis was still on his team? How do you? Because I really like Sabonis. I was curious how you felt.
You know what? I think they had to choose between Sabonis or Turner. And when they looked at this is, if you are a Pacers fan, like, you will hear me and know that you have been heard. The Pacers are notoriously cheap, right? Simon, the ownership group, has always been cheap. And I think the thought was they didn't want to give Sabonis the max, and they didn't think they would have to give Turner the max. So, like, instead of giving Sabonis $38 million, they thought they could probably give Turner like around 25 per, maybe 26 per, and save money and still be competitive. And then when they made that decision, they said, we need to go find a player, because in their determination, they weren't going to be able to build a perennial competitive team around Sabonis at the max. So Sacramento, and there was another team that really wanted to take a run at Sabonis. And I don't know who it was. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the Miami Heat. But Sacramento said, hey, we're going to go ahead and stick with De'Aaron Fox, because towards the end of the season, there was a divide in the front office on, are we going with Fox or are we going with Halliburton? And because they had already made the decision to pay Fox, they went with Fox. Because for whatever reason in Sacramento, they allow the past idiotic front office moves to have some say in what they do. and they wanted to be viewed as a stable franchise. And they didn't want to make it seem as, well, we gave him the max and we believe in him, but now we're getting rid of him. And that's why they stuck with De'Aaron Fox. And then the Fox camp in SAC, they won out, and look what he's doing. He's balling out. So, like, in a rare win-win, I don't think the Pacers are where they are if they keep Sabonis. And I don't think the Kings are where they are if they keep Halliburton. If that makes sense.
Good trade. Yeah, good trade all around. Okay.
Great trade.
Because I agree. I like Sabonis, and I like, Sacramento looks better this year, ironically, but like Halliburton looks happy and looks like he's good in Indiana. Like at first he was hurt by it, but now he looks solid. Like he's even making comments about, like comments to that effect. So yeah, I'm curious about that. Thanks.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
One more thing, Chris.
Go ahead, Breeze.
Just on the Pacers subject. For one, I think that Sabonis is gone. It lets you fully lean into Halliburton, so it's kind of like boosting his development because you still have to. They play like through post offense through Sabonis, and now they have a little more free flowing pick and roll with Halliburton, and also on the Benedict point, who's like the candidates for Sixth Man of the Year right now if he's not in it, and Rookie of the Year right now?
I don't think he would win Sixth Man of the Year. Because when he comes in, he's just scoring. And usually if you look at the Sixth Man of the Year, like Tyler Hero, they highlighted the scoring, but it was more than scoring, right? Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles, when they were battling, it was really a coin flip. The Sixth Man of the Year award tends to go to a team who wouldn't have maintained their success at the end of the year without that player. And I don't think Benedict Mathurin is in that category, right? Because that's me saying, even without him, the Pacers with Halliburton would still be good. They're just better, right? But if you take Tyus Jones, who I think will probably end up being in the lead, off of the Grizzlies, they fall apart. Right? If you take, I would use the Sixers, but we can't because everybody's injured. DeAnthony Melton, I thought, had a good shot as well as being a six-man candidate. So maybe Mathurin will be there. Mathurin will be there by default. I just don't think he will because he'll also be starting. That's all. He's just too good. Like I just don't see it happening. Keep your eye out on Jevon Carter, by the way. Six-man early buzz too out of Milwaukee.
I wish we had that Jevon Carter and with the Nets last year. Like maybe it was Nash, maybe it was how he was coached. I don't know, but he wasn't put in those situations maybe. But he does not look like the same player. But congratulations to him good on him for turning it around with the Bucks. Because with us, nah.
And if you want another dark horse six-man, if you are a degenerate gambler, I am not. I'm not. You're gonna laugh, but you shouldn't. If the Portland Trailblazers stay in the top 3 or top 4 of the Western Conference, Justice Winslow will be a big reason for that. He is their utility knife. He's played time at point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. He gets the most minutes usually off the bench every game. He's able, like Chauncey is able to put him in there to plug every hole. So, like, don't be surprised that if Portland ends up with like a 49 and 33 record, that he's not going to win. You'll see his name up there as a six-man of the year candidate, right? And that's just me telling Justice Winslow, congrats, man. Like, people thought he was going to be out the league, and he has done nothing but grind, and he has made a home in Portland. And Portland would not be Portland without him. JF, hop up in here.
Yeah, Chris, I never thought Justice Winslow would be out the league. I just didn't think he was a good fit for Miami, unfortunately, or they didn't put him around the proper pieces. Because in that same draft, we got Josh Richardson, and he stood out a little bit more than Justice Winslow did in his production. But going back to the Sabonis thing, so is that one of those pieces that I was talking about earlier, where Pat Ryan missed on a big fish trying going for a whale? Because what do you think that they're asking for, and do you think Miami could have facilitated that trade for Sabonis?
Well, I think it was Miami. It might not have been. There was also talk that it was San Antonio, that they would have offered like a couple of young players in a pick. But if it was Miami, it probably would have been Tyler and the pick that ended up being Jovic.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So I mean, people are like thinking the Pacers were going to sell him at a discount because everybody knew that the Pacers didn't want to pay him the max, and like they're like, oh well, but Sabonis is a top 10 center. You know, like he gives you points, rebounds, assists. He's stretched out a little bit. He can spread the floor a little bit better. Next year, he'll even be better at shooting. And he provides secondary action from the post. You can put him high post and he can hit a cutter. You can put him low post. He can back up and then he can swing the ball across and hit an open man for a three. And that is very valuable. And the fact that people discounted him because he didn't pop at Oklahoma when he was in Oklahoma City, you know, they had a chance. Like almost everybody could have had Sabonis at one point. You know, so it just shows you like talent evaluation is a fluid thing because talent is fluid. And you know, the Sabonis at the Oklahoma City days was just viewed as a rough prospect. He wasn't going to be anywhere near as good as his dad. But if he continues what he's doing now for 6-7 years, Hall of Fame maybe. I mean, if Malik is ready to put Mark Price in, I mean, why not?
That's insulting. That's insulting.
That's a low.
It's just a joke.
Nah, but you don't compare. Like, I just think that Mark Price's skill level and what he put in college and pro is enough compared to what others that have gotten in. We're talking about the Naismith Hall of Fame. We're not talking about, and I think that he should be in over some of the people that are actually in, and I'll stand on that. Like,
oh no, I would say that argument is 100% valid. There are people in the Naismith Hall of Fame that I would not have in, right? Like, but to me, I put Otis Thorpe in 10 times out of 10 before I put Mark Price in.
Okay, well,
and that's pro and college. Like,
that's good. You know what I mean? But I you know, we always have, you know, there's always going to be issues with the Hall of Fame. This is my one player that I'm going to go for every time.
I know. And Otis Thorpe is mine, right? Like, to me, Otis Thorpe is the line of demarcation. If you cannot beat Otis Thorpe, then you don't get into the Hall. That includes Chris Webber. Like, he didn't, like, if you look at college and pro, anyway, we'll get off of that. People don't like it when I talk bad about Chris Webber. Such a likable guy.
That was one of your own, Chris.
Mark Price slander will not be tolerated. Look at his game and before you start slandering Mark Price.
I'm not slandering. I thought he was a fantastic player. I liked watching Mark Price. I just don't think he had the career. Put him in the Hall. That's just me. But like people tell me that about Thorpe. So we're on the same boat. EK, your hand is up. JF, you got something to say, and then we got JB Fortis, who's joined us on stage. You can catch him on NBA and NFL Now. But I'm going to have to hit this button because we're 20 minutes into the second hour already. Time flies by when you're having fun. Talking about how bad Miami Heat basketball is right now. And we're brought to you by Slam Goods. You can head over to Slam Goods right now, slamgoods.com, and you can check out the marketplace of apparel, collectible merchandise, memorabilia. And if you look at the very, very first tweet up top, which I'm going to put also, on the back end, you can pick up the Kobe Bryant retirement bundle. It'll give you the retirement issue and the tribute issue, right? It's on sale right now for $24. They took $6 off. You can use promo code HoopSpaces and save an additional 15%. And like this is two of the three that I tell you that I have, the Kobe Bryant trilogy, and you're gonna want it, and you're probably going to want to read it. Wear gloves and then frame it. Like it's art. It really is, and it helps bolster your fandom of greatness. And for me personally, I actually do respect Kobe Bryant more now as I am more reflective. And like this is a good way to celebrate that. Head over to slamgoods.com, use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. If you missed any part of the show or any other show, head over to YouTube. We are powered by audiolabs.io, and we'll get all of the episodes up there. There was a hiccup where 3 of the episodes did not actually port over correctly, but 2 of them will be up there sometime today. We'll get this show up there sometime tomorrow. Powered by audiolabs.io. All right, cool. Thank you for the reads, everybody. And for everybody who did reach out and donate, I want to say thank you. I'll actually put the Cash App stuff back up there again if you missed out. Lots of stuff needs to get done to make this show run the way it does. And some of the stuff now is going to need to cost money. And I thought by now Twitter would have had approved super followers for myself and a couple of others, because this is prior to Elon buying it. But ever since Elon bought it, like it's not there. And so what Twitter super follows are is just a subscription service where it's like $5 a month, and you'd be able to get extra access. And I planned on putting content there to kind of, make you want to subscribe. And that's really the goal here, is to make this as Hoop Spaces self-sustaining, so that content creators will have a hub here to be able to talk and share their passion for the NBA. All right, we'll go to EK next, JF Cake, and then we've got JB Fortis, ladies and gentlemen, on the ones and twos, getting ready to come up here and possibly talk about the Boston Celtics and possibly talk about those Chicago Bulls, because he just went off on them, and yet here we are. Time flies in the NBA. EK, go ahead, JF, then we'll go to Malika, then we'll clear out space for JB. Appreciate it, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah, Chris. So I wanted to kind of expand the conversation about Mark Price being in the Hall of Fame. I voted on the poll, on Malika's poll. And Malika, I agree with you. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame because I feel like with Mark Price's case, you have some of the anecdotal stories from some of the guards that went up against him in the late 80s and early 90s, and really early 90s, and they all talk about how great he was and how he was completely undervalued and completely underrated. But also, if it were not for a man that we all know by the name of LeBron James, Mark Price would be Cleveland's leader in assists, probably still today. He'd probably be the leader in three-pointers made, and he would probably be the leader in steals if it wasn't for LeBron James. So do we think because of LeBron James' success with Cleveland, do we think it maybe sort of dimmed what Mark Price and Brad Daugherty and all those guys were able to do with Cleveland in the late 80s to like early 90s? That's the question that I have. Sorry if I didn't pose it that way.
I was just wondering, like, were you posing it to Malika or to the floor?
Oh, I was posing it to the floor. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I was posing it to the floor, but specifically Malika, because she's done a lot of research into Mark Price, and I appreciate what Mark Price was able to do. And I feel like if it wasn't for LeBron James being there and having the success he had, that we would look at Mark Price in a different light.
All right, go ahead, Malika.
I mean, that's a good point, possibly. It's so funny when I look at decades of teams, I I tend to not put them together like that. So that's funny. I just look at it differently when I'm looking at the history of teams. But yeah, that's possibly it. But the people the people that vote on the Hall, understand a distinction between like a LeBron-led team versus the teams they had in the 80s and 90s. So for me, it would be a no because the people voting for it know the distinction and know what. I don't think it would be an issue for them. For fans, maybe, but not for people that vote in the Hall.
I would
Yeah.
like to answer that question as well if I can.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. Sorry, JP. Go ahead.
No, I've got something for you, EK, that I haven't heard brought up on this topic that I think is relevant in the Hall of Fame's minds as it pertains to Mark Price. We unfortunately, whether we mean to or not, have lasting images of certain players in our heads. Usually, and as I think on it, in almost every case, when we are discussing the Hall of Fame, it is the positive images that come to light. And maybe Malika has one, and maybe Chris has one of Mark Price. But as somebody who grew up in the Mark Price era and was in Chicago during the Mark Price era, my lasting image, and I imagine most voters whose lasting image of Mark Price, is Michael Jordan throwing his fist up triumphantly as he beat Mark Price for the game winner and Mark Price going into the stands. As we look at Mark Price, even if we are to make a compelling case for Mark Price being in the Hall of Fame, and I am reserving judgment on that because I haven't done enough Mark Price statistical analysis. But what I have done in my lifetime, whenever Mark Price is brought up, that image comes straight to mind. And I would imagine that even if Malika made a compelling case for Mark Price being in the Hall of Fame, that Hall of Fame voters would absolutely think of that moment of Mark Price's career first and foremost, rushing to the front of the mind. And that moment is going to be a tough barrier for anybody to overcome, not the least of which that it's getting replayed. And then the second point that you made, EK, is 100% right, which is that LeBron James is eclipsing much of Mark Price's accomplishments, which, like, dude, the game goes forward, like, that happens. And you hope, like Chris said, that they can separate one era from another. But it's still, the farther you get away from it, the less light is shined down upon him.
But go ahead. No, but go ahead.
my issue is like, is he better than Magic? No. Isaiah? No. Fat Lever? No. Norm Nixon, Sleepy Floyd, Mark Jackson, John Stockton, Larry Drew, Terry Porter?
I will put him up there with some of them. I'm sorry.
I would put him up there with Mark. I'll put him up there with Mark Jackson.
But it's Terry
Porter.
Chris,
Maurice Cheeks. I'm giving you.
I'll put him
Chris,
up there.
I'll put him over Mo Cheeks.
I won't put him over Mo Cheeks. I would put him up there with Mo Cheeks. I won't put him over Mo Cheeks.
Well, Mo Cheeks only averaged 11 points in his career compared to 15 points by Mark Price. So, I mean, like, and he never won a ring, so.
Okay, but what else did he do? Like, he also averaged more steals.
Yeah, defensively, right? Mo Cheeks was better than Mark Price.
He had a longer career, so you have the volume, right?
Yeah, that's true with Mo Cheeks, but
is he better than Dennis Johnson?
I'm gonna die on this hill. Personally, I think he belongs in the Hall. I think it's crap that some players are in the Hall and he isn't. I think
name him.
But again, like, I just named off 15 point guards from the 80s.
And all of them aren't in the Hall either. So
I know. But, like, is he definitively better? Did he produce more than those 15 definitively?
Chris, I mean this in the nicest possible way. Did he produce definitively less than Terry Porter? Come on. Like, the big difference between those two guards is that one has this image of falling into the crowd that immediately should spring to mind, and the other doesn't.
And the fact that Terry Porter has, like, a higher, win shares and doesn't have nothing to do with it either, right? Like, I mean, like, you have to at some point. And this is why I respect Malika on this line. just on the hill. You just have to have a line, and unfortunately, Mark Price for me just doesn't pass that line. That's all.
Just so you know, I still have a rant. There's nothing.
Oh yeah. Let me get JF in here, and then we'll set you up for your rant. Go ahead, JF.
Yeah, Chris. This is just going back to the earlier point. Is your beef with Chris Webber is because he wasn't one of those recruits that paired out for you for the Kings and didn't win anything when you expected to win something?
No, man. I have never worked for the Kings. I do not work for the Kings. There.
Well, I don't know. Perry's got a whole story about it, so I believe that.
No, look. Chris Webber had a phenomenal career, right? When you add in the Fab Five, he's a Hall of Famer. My issue is that we complain about players and empty stats, right? Like you hear this every day. Chris Webber was a king of empty stats until he got to Sacramento. Like and that, like, if you think about it, yeah, you think about it. What did he do in Washington? Nothing. Except get in trouble. Like, it got so acrimonious. They he went to Sac. And like, that's when he became the Webber you guys remember. But like, for the majority of the beginning of the career, Juwan Howard was just the better player.
So
Chris.
You only looking at Washington days? Is that really
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, as an example, right? When we start saying like players have empty stats, like for the longest it was Wiggins when he was in Minnesota. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, nothing but empty stats, like 20 points, no assists, no defense, nothing," and like he wasn't mature enough to be put in the position he was in Washington. He still produced in Washington, but in terms of like a better pro player, you're not gonna be able to say that it wasn't Juwan Howard until Webber got to Sacramento, when he had to grow up.
Chris, I agree with you on the Washington point. Although this is the same Washington team that had Ben Wallace and did nothing with him, had Rasheed Wallace, did nothing with him. They had the entire 04 starting lineup of the Pistons that did nothing with them. So let's not we need to remember that. So I think it's more Washington's institutional failure than Chris Webber. But I think with guys like that who have empty stats, if they can go to other situations and grow and become more than that, that's how they should ultimately be defined. Because you're right, he was immature at the time, and he did get in trouble in Washington. And obviously, this area really isn't a good place for an immature young kid to be who happens to be an NBA player. They're going to get in trouble regardless, right? So going out to Sacramento and proving that he could lead a team on a championship-ish run, right? That sort of supersedes the whole empty stats thing, because we saw in Sacramento those stats were definitely not empty. And he played at his highest peak. So,
yeah, did he really lead Sacramento, or was that Mike Bibby's team?
Oh, Chris! Oh my Lord!
That's nasty, Chris.
Oh my Lord! Stop it!
All right,
Chris, please.
Okay, real quick. Like, Juwan Howard is another player that I believe has every merit to also be in the Hall of Fame, right? I think he should be in ahead of Mark Price if we're putting Mark Price in.
No.
You're right on that, Chris.
Chris, are you nuts?
No.
All rookie, all NBA, 2-time champ, 1-time All-Star.
Watch some games. I'm gonna need you to go back.
No, again. So again, it's the Naismith Hall of Fame. Winner as a coach, winner as a player, winner in college. He didn't win a championship, but like they won at Michigan.
Is he in? Are you pulling him? Are you inducting him on the basis of a player or as a coach? Like
contributions to the game. That's what
not
they.
how you're in. You're in
Well,
by either as
no,
a player or a coach.
no, they you can
Or
get in
media
on
or
contributions to the game as well. Like they list that they put people in for contributions of the game to the game of basketball. Like he should probably go in as both. To be honest,
Chris, the
like
championship thing is that's a bit disingenuous. I mean, he won with the 11-12 Heat and the 12-13 Heat, averaging a whopping 1.5 points per game.
Hey,
A ring's a ring. A ring's a
We
ring.
gotta
wait a
stop
minute.
this. We gotta
Wait a
stop it,
minute.
man, please.
Wait. Because he provided value to that team,
Lord Jesus.
we're discounting his. Like you are saying that we should discount his contributions based on his production.
You want to know why we should do that? Because the last meaningful contribution he had to a team was the 03-04 Orlando Magic.
Hey, Chris,
Shout out those Orlando Magic.
Exactly. Shout them out.
We should just let Juwan Howard in for having the best celebration cabbage patch and having 2 rings. Come on, he deserves it.
Patrick McCaw got 3 rings. Should he be in the Hall of Fame now? Like, what are we doing?
Wait, no. What are we doing? He had a better career than Mark Price.
I'm gonna need you to go back and watch some games. You're not gonna look at that skill
No,
level and how
listen.
he played and say that
Lord
he doesn't.
Jesus.
No, we're not doing
He was
that.
on that same Washington team with Chris Webber that did nothing.
Chris,
Did he have empty stats?
Chris trolls a lot. I'll give him that. But Juwan Howard is a better basketball player than Mark Price.
I'm not saying that's not the case. What I'm saying is when you say he needs to be in the Hall of Fame over Mark Price, that's a completely different thing. Because at that point, you have to look at the load that you have to carry and how successfully you carried it in your prime, right? Juwan Howard had a longer career.
Do you think Mark Price should be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well then Juwan Howard should be in the Hall of Fame. It's his point.
For sure.
Yeah, because Juwan Howard is a better basketball player than Mark Price. I can guarantee you that.
I will go back and watch some
He
Juwan
has
That's
Howard
subjective.
games.
more points than Mark Price.
Juwan Howard is one.
I'm not
of the
remembering
top
him like
2
you
on
guys
Michigan.
speaking
The
about.
reason why he has listen, Juwan Howard was a monster. But like I said, it goes down to the positions you're put in on your respective teams. Mark Price wasn't a score first guard.
No, it doesn't.
He was
It goes on your all around skill just throughout your career.
That's not the case. Because if that was the case,
true.
that's not the case. Because if that's the case, James Harden, when he went from OKC to
listen
Houston
to
Harden,
yourselves. You are arguing in circles. You are arguing in circles.
This is your fault.
It is not my fault.
Juwan Howard.
This is definitely his fault. But
most definitely
deserved it over Juwan Howard.
Wait. 1, it is not my fault. 2, if you're down below and you want to get up, you have to shoot follows to the people upstage or on stage, and then you have to like and retweet the very first tweet. You're not going to come up on stage if you don't do that. I tried, to get the engagement for the listeners, but like y'all are at your computer working. Cool, do me the solid. Not my fault. Juwan Howard had a better career in the pros. Mark Price is Mark Price. I like Mark Price. He was awesome. In NBA Jam. He played great for the Cavaliers in a 3-year window until he got hurt and Brad Daugherty got hurt. But if he's going in the Hall, how is Juwan Howard not? That's he won as a player. He's won as a coach. And he stayed until he was 39 and did marginal contributions. But you're completely ignoring the fact he went a decade averaging double figures, about 7.5 to 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal on good percentages for a offensive 0.4. He was, just as Webber was, the progenitor to Paolo Banchero. Whether you like it or not. Right? Had Len Bias stayed alive.
I'm not against it. I just, I'm just hearing that I'm not against him getting in. That's not my hill. My hill is Mark Price. And I get it. I'll just stay on my hill alone. It's all good.
I want you to succeed. I want everybody to look up top, ladies and gentlemen. This is Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod. Okay, she has a question for you. Should Mark Price be in the Hall of Fame? Right. The polls out there. Please go ahead and vote. 95 people have voted. Now 96. Thank you for whoever just voted. And it is a 56% yes. And I'm totally fine with that. Like, if I'm totally fine with that. I don't want to, take away the accolades and stuff of any player. My issue is if you put him in, like, there are other players who had better careers that need to be in. All right, we are here for JB Fortis's rant, ladies and gentlemen. JB Fortis, host of NBA NFL Now. You can catch it here on Twitter Spaces, 8 a.m. JB, the floor is yours. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. This is a double rant, but the first one is going to go a lot faster. It begins by congratulating you because clearly the Chicago Bulls heard my rant and listened to Hoop Spaces yesterday, and they realized that had they lost that game last night against the Celtics, that they were in for a world of hurt, maybe even a season-ending hurt. And as a result, you saw the Bulls play with incredible desperation and intensity, just a fantastic effort by the Chicago Bulls. And I don't know that it saved their season, but it definitely stopped them from drowning in losses. I don't have much to say about the Celtics' effort or lack thereof, as much as I have to commend the Chicago Bulls for doing not only what it takes to win, but just for the effort and intensity to play in that kind of a regular season game. It was an outstanding win for them. And it's definitely going to help change the trajectory, at least of this week, for them. My big rant, though, and my big idea, and something I want you to comment on, no matter how ridiculous it may sound initially, is that I think that the vice president of the Players Association, Kyrie Irving, and that the other vice president, Jaylen Brown, may be conspiring with NBA teams to make it easier for Ben Simmons to get reintegrated into the league. And I know how silly it sounds on the surface that there would be a conspiracy by other NBA players to make it easy for another player to succeed. However, I point you to a strange occurrence of injuries in marquee games revolving around the Brooklyn Nets schedule. The Brooklyn Nets played the Memphis Grizzlies, and Ben Simmons had a revival of sorts when he had that 20-point game. And everybody came into this space and talked about how awesome Ben Simmons is. And yet the Grizzlies were playing without Ja Morant, Triple J, Desmond Bane, and Zaire Williamson. 3 starters and a valuable bench member later, they lost to the Brooklyn Nets. And lo and behold, Ben Simmons had a great game. And if you wanted to look at that as a one-off and say, oh, well, that's no big deal, it just so happens to be that way. Tonight, the Brooklyn Nets face the Philadelphia 76ers, and lo and behold, magically, Joel Embiid is injured. Well, Joel Embiid gets injured every year, and so is Tyrese Maxey, and so is James Harden. And granted, James Harden got injured way before, but now all that stands between the Philadelphia 76ers and Brooklyn Nets on a game that we scheduled, that we circled on the schedule, all that's left is lowly Tobias Harris, who remains on the trading block. And then you say, oh, well, I'm just going to push past that. That's not really a big deal. But then you look at the Nets and the Raptors, and lo and behold, Pascal Siakam is not expected to play in that game, but will rejoin them shortly after that. And so we now move down to the Nets and the Pacers. And thank God the Pacers are on a 5-game winning streak to sort of stop me there, right? Because God forbid they were missing players or missing any kind of injuries, right? Then we would look at them and we could move to the Trailblazers that are now missing Damian Lillard. And it's just a happy coincidence, right, that all of these star players are being connected and that Jaylen Brown is busy tweeting out pictures of support for Kyrie, for people who are protesting in favor of Kyrie Irving. Now, I don't believe that Jaylen Brown was trying to do so maliciously.
This is utter nonsense. How long is this going to continue?
It's going to continue until I'm done. You know what you should do? You should make a case for Mark Price to be in the Hall of Fame and take 50 minutes, and I'll make my 5.
This is dumb as hell, but go ahead.
So, yeah, I'll finish. It's not much longer. The point is that players seem to be magically missing, magically getting injured so that Ben Simmons can feel good about his mental health. Because if Joel Embiid been there, then you would have gotten all kinds of questions. Doc Rivers isn't there anymore. Joel Embiid isn't there anymore. Daryl Morey gets to hide in his box. It's all one big happy coincidence, unless you're playing irrelevant teams like the Magic and the Pacers and the Wizards. Like there, all of a sudden, it's no big deal. But like, it seems like the world wants Ben Simmons to succeed. And I'm telling you, as long as he faces no adversity, I imagine that his mental health will be wonderful. That's what it seems like to me. Obviously, I'm sure everybody's going to disagree, but that's a chief reason that the Nets are continuing this sort of streak. They're not playing teams at full strength.
When the Nets were playing people injured, nobody brought up the fact that most of our team is injured. What the hell is this? It's one-sided. And now,
it's supposed to be one-sided. That's what he's doing.
Last season we had that issue and nobody cared. Nobody had pity on us. Get the hell out of here with that. Come on.
If I have a complaint about the Nets, I'm not looking at it from 1,000 other teams' angles. By the way, I did the same thing with the Bulls. I don't zero in on the Celtics and say, well, the Celtics are so good and that's why the Bulls suck. No. I say the Bulls suck. Here are all the different reasons why. In this particular instance, I say the Nets are having an easy time easing Ben Simmons into it. And the only thing that I can trace it to is Kyrie Irving and Jaylen Brown being the presidents of the Player Association and having all that influence. To all these random superstars.
What the hell? Come on.
I'm not gonna lie, JB. That is a little tinfoil-ish, man. I love the conspiracy theory angle though. It is very, very creative. I'm gonna give you a point for that. And you brought the jersey out of Malika too. You heard it in the voice. You heard it. I heard it. Paris, did you hear it? I heard it. That was dope.
Malika, just in answer to your
Chris,
question.
you're enjoying this, I know. You are.
Of course. Why else would I do this? It's Twitter. Nobody's paying me. I mean, I need to get on Slam Goods and find myself a promotional by using Hoop Spaces for 50% off.
Well,
Kobe Bryant magazine, so I can talk about
that. Those things, the issues going on with Kyrie and Jaylen have nothing to do with basketball. Come on now.
Look. It was a conspiracy theory. It was just
the Nets had KD, Kyrie, and all kinds of players injured last year. We didn't get any, pity. We didn't get any consideration for that. It's just unnecessary and ridiculous hate for the Nets. It is what it is.
Malika, very quickly, I will stop talking after this. They have won 2 straight. They're 8-9, and they are the best number 10 seed in the entire NBA. And magically, just people are falling down. They're just magically getting injured. Big superstars. Pascal Siakam. We talked about him 2 weeks ago. He was playing the best ball. He was going to be most improved player.
This is nasty.
I don't even hear JB.
That's show him some respect. Oh well, now Magic.
Because he's not saying anything that makes sense. I'm sure.
I like.
Who was the one who was complaining about Ben Simmons giving lack of effort in the playoffs?
The antagonistic angle is definitely up your forte. This is very.
I don't hear JB.
All right.
Look, I'm sure that once you win one more game, and you're the 7th seed, that everybody will come out and give you flowers when you're 9-8 as opposed to 8-9, and hopefully, teams will play you at full health.
Well, the scary part is that the Brooklyn Nets are actually probably going to get to full health before some of these other teams. That's the actual scary part. And also, a scary thing is the polls up there. You only have one vote, y'all. Who you voting? Mark Price or Juwan Howard? There you go. Appreciate the rant, JB. The conspiracy angle and the antagonist nature is absolutely hilarious. Mark Edwards has joined us following Following some mayhem and absurdity. Mark, good morning. You're probably on the road. Question: if you only have one vote into the Hall of Fame, who are you voting for, Mark Price or Juwan Howard?
You know what? I find that you are we've talked about this before. You are a fan of the 40-degree day. And you consistently bring me these 40-degree day questions about these 40-degree day players. You really
Yo,
do.
real quick, for the room, go ahead and tell them what the 40-degree means because they probably don't get the joke if they haven't heard it before.
Okay, so from the iconic TV show The Wire, Stringer Bell describes an average, underwhelming day, and he's like, during the wintertime, if it rises to 60, like people outside, they barbecuing pretty much in the winter. 60 degrees, what? We outside. 50 degrees, they're like, oh, they cool, they loosen their clothes up a little bit. But a 40-degree day, nobody talks about a 40-degree day. Like, it's 40 degrees outside.
Oh man, look, I am telling you.
Sorry, my fault,
I'm
so forth.
Oh, you good.
But no, it's
all right.
it's a
I'm
boring
voting
thing.
Juwan.
I mean, you can vote Juwan, but you have to understand that, Malika hit me with this earlier, not too long ago, and I kind of answered her. If you're gonna vote, you have to put Mark Price in there because of his stats. When you look at the fact that he's one of the greatest free throw shooters of all time in NBA history, when you look at the fact that he's one of the greatest 3-point shooters, over 40% for his career, even though he only shot like 3 a game, but that was the era back then. Larry Bird only shot 2. Dirk Nowitzki only shot 2 per game. You know what I'm saying? Larry Bird actually shot less than 2, slightly less than 2, but he's still considered one of the greatest 3-point shooters in history. Mark Price was the guy that I'm not gonna say he invented it because I saw Jordan do it before Price. He would consistently split, defenders when they came to ice him on pick and rolls or whatever, which was amazing to do because he would go from a high dribble to a low dribble, then quickly just split him. And he's like, whoa, where did he come from? 50, 40, 90 guy. Cleveland Cavaliers, or had the best record in the NBA at one stretch, and the Bulls beat him with that miraculous Jordan shot or whatever, double pump Jordan shot. I mean, he was the catalyst to all of that. And it's a running joke, but it's not a joke. It's just reality. He's one of the last white American ball players to be a first team All NBA guy, and it's something that's like it's totally missing in the game. Like, we need more white American ball players excelling at the game of basketball to extend the fan base. Like, this is a game of all cultures, races, and so forth, and we need
You just
participation.
talked about 40 days, right? You just talked about 40-degree days. The best white American player? Go ahead, though, Mark.
No, that's just a reality. The best white American player right now is Tyler Hero. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need diversity in the game. I mean, it might not be big to you, but it's big to me. I mean, I've been a fan of the game for 45 years. So for me, I grew up loving Larry Bird. I grew up loving Mark Price as a player, so on and so forth. So if I'm gonna vote, it's gonna be Mark Price. If I have between those two, and I love Juwan Howard, but Mark Price.
Curry's better than Bird.
Who?
And Curry's white.
Man, Paris, stop it.
Curry?
Stop it, Paris. Paris is just being overly antagonistic for no good reason.
Oh, that's fine. I love antagonism. It's fine. But no, Mark Price, definitely. I think he's going to be a guy that will get into the Hall of Fame, but later on, I think probably in the next, I would say the next maybe 5-6 years or so forth. Because if Tim Hardaway got in, I think he has a chance of getting in. Truly.
Yeah, no, I too. Like, I think he has a chance of getting in. The Tim Hardaway ad definitely helps too. It's like my guy is Otis Thorpe, right? And like it just bewilders me that he's not in the Hall. Malika is Mark Price. Who is your player the player that's out the hall that you say needs to be in, and you just are going to stay on that hill?
Wow. That's a tough one. Ugh. My guy, I mean, I think Steve Kerr deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as a coach/player. You know, that might be it. But, you know, and I think he'll get there very quickly, you know, within the next, 3 to 5 years, definitely, because of his coaching acumen. And, you know, they'll do the player coach thing, but it'll be more for coaching than anything. I'd have to look at that. Because I had a lot of players that I loved, but Bernard King got in, so that would have been a player. But yeah, that's it for me.
Look, let me give you 3 names because I'll take Mark Price out and I'll take Otis Thorpe out and Juwan Howard out. Robert Horry, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups.
No.
Okay.
Not one of those?
Chauncey Billups and who else?
Chauncey, Sheed, or Robert Horry.
I would put Chauncey in before the other two. No. I would put Sheed and Chauncey in before Robert Horry.
I would. Wow.
It's hard. It's hard, ain't it?
Sheed won't get in.
She is another player.
Hold on. Chauncey is not in the.
Sheed won't get in because he wasn't a media guy. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a great interview guy. There's not a lot of relationships there with him and the media. Chauncey's going to have pushback because of allegations and all kind of stuff. Robert Horry might have some sympathy because of the amount of rings he got. But as a player, the best of them, Chauncey,
I love how you say that.
Wow. You think about this stuff, don't you? You like stumping people.
All right. This is what I do.
Wow. That was a good one. I'd have to do a deep dive, and really look at that because Chauncey took a while to figure it out and become a starter in the league and be consistent. He bounced around for a minute. Horry was always just that, glue guy. I think I don't know that Big Shot Bob. I don't think that teams actually went to him and like, we're gonna go to you, Big Shot Bob, because you're clutch. I think it was just he took opportunistic shots that happened to be game winners. I just don't think we ran plays for Big Shot Bob. I just, he was
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Like
Sheed is somebody who was like, he was too good. He was too good, and I think probably, I'm not gonna say arrogant. I don't know what the word is for Sheed because he was so good and he could have been so much better, but I don't think he cared as much. To be the focal point of anybody's offense.
In the world of academia, like it's gifted or savant, right? Like there's a scale where somebody is just so in tune with the specific subject matter, right? That they ooze it without even trying. And because they ooze it without even trying, they don't ever try.
Yes. The game was...
And that... Go ahead.
Yes. No, I agree. He's that guy. I mean, because he never put up major numbers. I mean, I think early in his career, shooting over 50% or whatever. I mean, he was an okay free throw shooter. He was just okay at everything, I mean...
Yeah,
but we know his skill set to be that of great or dominant. Like he was the stretch 5.
It's hard. It's like that, and I want to say, like, for the people who are listening, imagine you having to make these decisions about who's even eligible to get into the Hall of Fame, knowing for the fact that there are 20 million people on Twitter who are going to skewer you and put you over the hot coals. If you put someone up there that you as the fan don't think belongs up there. Like, that's why this is really hard. And that's why I say, like, there's a line, and sometimes you just gotta be like, man, you got so close.
Yeah, no. I mean, I mean, you know what? I could tell you this: if you were to start a campaign, and start putting Mark Price out there, and media guys actually started to take notice, he would be on a ballot, and I think he'd make it within the next two years because
I think
he is beloved. I mean, and he's a 4-time, All NBA guy.
Oh, and he is beloved. He is the NBA's John Bon Jovi.
He just has disappeared from the game per se. I think he became more of a family man. He had sons. They played ball. He trained them. He created he had a little AAU. He ran AAU stuff for a while. He did training. He just did not roam around the NBA circles to go into the games, and he's like John Stockton is right now. He's kind of missing from the game.
And you know what? Here's also another reason, and this, ladies and gentlemen, it will be hilarious. Here's another reason why he should be in the Hall of Fame, even though I just said that he shouldn't. He got his brother in the league.
Yeah.
He really got his brother a gig in the National Basketball Association.
Yeah. That whole family of shooters.
Yep.
These reasons are interesting. I got a question for Chris and Mark. If you guys had a franchise to start and you could go with Chauncey Billups or Mark Price, who you guys picking?
Mark Price.
Mark Price.
Let me get Landon in here. Let me get Chase in here. Landon, you got up here first. Go to Chase right after you. It's Mark Price. It ain't close. Landon, go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
Woo, man, you almost caught them horns, man. How you doing, Landon?
Good, yourself?
You know what? After watching Rudy Gobert play for 31 minutes and have 0 recorded field goal attempts, I'm still here. I'm here. I still can't get over that Minnesota Heat game. That Heat Timberwolves game was so bad.
Oh, but I didn't watch.
Don't. Don't. What you got cooking, Landon?
I got a story that I'm doing. I can't talk about it at the moment, but as soon as everybody drops, they will be retweeting it.
All right.
It will be going viral.
Oh, all right. Send me a hint so I know what to look for in the DM. Check. Say what?
It's Lakers related, but that's the only thing I'm gonna say.
All right, cool. I got you. Chase, what's up, man? Happy that you found us here on Twitter. We bet people don't know if people don't remember, Clubhouse was a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing. I go in there from time to time and nothing seems to be happening. Chase, how are you? Thank you for finding us.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And yes, going back to the Clubhouse, mentioned it's still on the phone, but more out of memory than
right?
I do remember the Clubhouse days. Yes, so it's in my phone still as out of respect, if anything. But I had to raise my hand this morning because I tripped, walking the dog, and to go with the Mark Price, Juwan Howard argument. Not a hill anybody should die on, right? 40 degree days. I love the Wire reference there. I guess I'll land my plane taking some Clubhouse references. A couple points I'll make. One, I have a Juwan Howard story, a fun story. It's a kid story. So I'm impartial to Juwan Howard. I say I'm from the DMV because I was in Northern Virginia. So I remember when the Bullets turned to the Wizards, and Juwan Howard, before we gave franchise players those names, there's a whole era of players that just Jordan decimated in those years, and the Bullets then Wizards were one of those teams for a long time. So there's an era in the 90s which Juwan Howard was a strong contributor on a terrible team that became better. But the comparison. So my Juwan Howard story, real quick, I was 12 at a camp, and it was I was super excited, and it was him and Chris Webber were running a play, and it was I'm trying to remember the third player. There's a third player. It'll come back to me later. Anyways, they were running a camp, and they did a jog around the gym, and I caught an elbow from Juwan, right in the mouth. Started bleeding. I was a little kid, so he didn't even notice me, like, because he was built out of stone, and I was 12, and I'm bleeding and smiling. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. He's got elbow by Juwan Howard. And that's a terrible story, but it's a fun story. But it sets kind of a precedent. Like, Juwan, like, had a long career, 19 years. Yes, not many All-Star appearances. He was a two-time NBA champion at the end of his career. But looking at the criteria for Hall of Fame, like, he has been a contributor to the sport for a quarter of a century. Like, if you really think about it, going back to his Michigan years, the Fab Five is iconic, his long NBA career, and now he's a coach. Like, the guy coaches at Michigan. So, and Mark Price, it's not fair to compare those two, that come down to those two. But if Mark Price is getting in, Juwan gets in before him, just because of how much he has contributed to the game on and off the court. And I think he has that in spades. As a player, he has some moments that are memorable, but not enough to sustain 19 years, which very few players can. So all that said, being in the 90s when the big men was still important, he was a core component of a team that was irrelevant really before them. So that's a short storyline of I'm a Juwan supporter, so I feel like he should get in at some point. But something was said earlier, just like Mark Price in comparison, and going back, you asked the question of who's like your guy that's not in, and you said Chauncey, which was definitely one. But my other one here is Damon Stoudemire, which literally Mark Price and his stats are like identical. It's hard to believe, but Damon played a few more games than him. But if we're going to have these conversation of these brief moments of accolades, they literally played the same amount of games. They averaged pretty much the same amount of points, blocks. They're like the same player, pretty much. Except Damon, won some stuff, won some early accolades in his rookie year, but not much after that. So again, neither one of them. Again, we're literally arguing about 40-degree days here and counting them up. So I just had to raise my hand because it was like the Juwan hit a chord. I really enjoyed the space you guys hold and the discourse here, and really enjoy what you guys are doing. So I'm here I won't die on either of these hills, but I'm here for all the smoke. So
that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun.
I think the 4 All NBAs that Mark Price got during those eras are
they're more weighted for sure,
without question.
He was a first team All NBA guy,
Mm-hmm.
And it's that was really tough back then, playing in the Jordan era, and Jordan at his peak era. You know what I'm saying? John Stockton was around, so for him to be considered better than Stockton, is crazy.
What?
But he did it.
And Damon Stoudemire was wildly inefficient.
Let's talk about Calbert Cheaney.
There we go. That was the third. Thank you. That was the third piece that was missing. It was like there's a Chris Webber, Calbert Cheaney. Yes, Calbert Cheaney.
He is reaching today.
Lord Jesus.
Calbert Cheaney, University of Indiana. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Chris, I'm not that part of it alone, but Chauncey said a couple years ago that he zeroed in on Allen Iverson's numbers and his outside of the MVP because he got a Finals MVP and the All-Stars, etc. That he should be in the Hall of Fame a couple years ago before he went into coaching.
Yeah, Chauncey does a really good job of talking Chauncey up. Look, that 96-97 Bullets team was stacked, y'all. Rod Strickland, Jaren Jackson, Timmy the Legler, Harvey Grant, Matt Fish. Yeah, they don't know, Mark. They don't know.
Yeah, that squad was stacked. Didn't they run into the Bulls?
They did.
Everyone ran into the Bulls.
They did.
It's like running into a wall. It's a wall that's like, okay, we got to go through this wall one way or another. And he never went through the wall.
Eliminated a franchise. We still have the Supersonics if it wasn't for the Bulls having some success. Too much success here.
That is real.
So they literally put a franchise out of a city. That's how important they
are. There are a lot of players that basically Michael Jordan just messed up their legacy.
Clyde Drexler,
Jeff Hornacek, like these.
Kevin Johnson,
Dan Marley,
Dan Marley,
Thunder Dan.
Thunder Dan.
Thunder Dan Marley.
Anybody who wore a Utah Jazz jersey for 20 years?
Yeah. What's the guy's name who Jordan crossed over and hit the jump shot on?
Elo?
No. On Utah.
Byron Russell.
Byron Russell when he pushed off.
That was a push off.
Pushed
yeah.
off.
He pushed yeah. You know what? If you're a Jordan fan,
it was a nudge.
Defend that shit.
It was
Russell went like 8 feet.
Come on, bro. It was a crossover and a nudge. Like,
it's like 25 years
since
ago,
you're
bro.
going in that direction, go ahead and keep going. Keep going that way.
About 5 years ago, and he
Byron
said
Russell still wants to literally fight Michael Jordan behind that.
Yes,
because he pushed off.
Yes,
it's okay, bro. We can tell the truth.
One game. Go ahead. One game we haven't talked about. I was waiting for the third hour. We're in the third hour. Let me hit this button so I can do this read. We are brought to you by Slam Goods. SlamGoods.com is the website. You should go to that website and you should check out all the stuff they have, whether it's apparel, whether it's collectibles, or whether it's an actual physical copy of words on glossy paper of which you open and look at pictures because you don't read. And you should read more. Read more words. Words are good. Go to Slam Goods right now and you can actually pick up the bundle for Kobe Bryant. They have the retirement issue and the dedication issue. The other one sold out, so you missed out. Don't miss out on this one. It's on sale for $24. Use promo code HoopSpaces, save an additional 15%, and really reconnect with like that era as we are doing today, talking about Mark Price, thanks to Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod. Malika, are you there? She probably wasn't ready. She heard the music and checked out, said, I can go get some water.
No, I'm here.
All right. Tell them when you got this Mark Price room.
I'm going to be doing the Mark Price, Cleveland Cavaliers, like that era room soon. I haven't scheduled it yet. I just need to find somebody as, like knows the Cleveland Cavalier history and wants to talk about it with me because I don't like doing dissertations. But that'll be
I know.
That'll be in early December. But I really want to do that room because I think it's needed. I think that team, period, not just my Price, but they had a pretty good team, I think. So I want to talk about it. So that's coming soon.
You should get Ron Harper in the room because to this day, he's so mad about that one play that Jordan hit that shot.
Well, if I could get Ron Harper, I would love to have Ron Harper or anybody from that team. I mean, that'd be a dream to talk about those years with players.
Yeah, Ron Harper.
Captain, can't you get it Ron for?
I don't know if Ron wants to relive that right now.
I mean, I could probably get Mark Price's number for you.
Hey, there you go. Cleveland and Atlanta did battle last night. And Cleveland won. And I think that Atlanta is never going to be able to beat Cleveland in a 7-game series. I don't know what it is. It looks like a bad matchup when you watch it every game. 114-102. In this game, it was the combination of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. We're not going to get the best nickname for those two yet. Zedi Osman came off the bench, 23 points. Trae Young, 25 and 10. DeJounte Murray struggled, 11 points on 4 for 17. Rookie A.J. Griffin was in the starting lineup in replace of DeAndre Hunter, had a good game, 17 points, 7 for 11. John Collins, back in those trade rumors, 16 points. And at this point, he has stopped caring about rebounding. Clint Capella, 4 points, 12 boards, and nothing else really from anybody other than Onyeka Okongwu off the bench. He had 18 and 10. What is up with the Hawks? Why do they go from looking dominant to looking bad?
John Collins. He has the expression on his face like he just does not give a shit. And I think they can move on from him and let the young boy, fill those minutes and give them similar production. But I think the young boy has more to prove. I mean, a lot of times with NBA players, once they sign a deal, the first few years of that deal, they're gonna be in cruise control. You'll get the worst of them, and I think the last 2 years of that deal, when they know they're eligible for an extension or they're looking for an extension, is when they actually start, giving a shit. They start looking at their numbers. They start, let me get with a trainer and let me really, stick around in the city and the team or whatever, so they can show them that I'm committed because they're trying to get that new contract. And I think John Collins is one of those guys. I think he felt like he deserved more money on that re-up. I think he felt like he was as valuable as Trey, which I don't know why. But I don't that matchup you're talking about, I don't think they beat Cleveland in a playoff series. I just think Cleveland right now, I think Darius Garland is, for me, he's a better. I think oof. Man.
Look at you. Like, you don't want to say it, but you're looking at it like there's a plateau for Trey.
Darius is like is family. He's part of my training tree of trainers that I deal with and I mentor. And he's one of the guys that, is in that tree. I've been watching Trey since, 9th, 10th grade. I know his father. I don't like talking publicly about guys I know like that, but
yeah, it's
I think
hard.
Darius Garland is knocking on the door, but Trey statistically is crazy with it. I just think that Darius is knocking on his door. I like his style of play slightly better than Trey's. And I think with that team he has, I just don't think Atlanta can beat them. But I don't ever want to doubt Trey Young. Because if you do, he'll get you and bow. He'll get you and laugh in your face. He thought you was nice, huh?
This is how good Darius Garland was last night. He had 8 turnovers. He still finished with a +8 in the box score.
Yeah, and still had 26 and 9.
Trey Young had 6 turnovers. He finished with -19. Like, if you don't like people, you have to understand what plus minus really is and what it's really meant to do. And what it's really meant to do is show better efficiency at your job. Right? You should be able to look at the plus minus and say, that dude was on his job and he was doing it good. And here we have a guy who had more turnovers than Trey Young, only scored 1 more point, had less assists, more than double in the plus minus. And whatever that matchup is, man, I wonder if, like, this off-ball Trey, if he's leaning too much just into the shooting part. Because I think we should be seeing less assist from Trey, because we should be seeing more of the hockey assist off the second pass from Trey. And I don't think he's buying into what Nate McMillan is selling. And I think that also is what I see when I see this matchup. Garland and Mitchell clearly have bought in to what is being presented to them by Bickerstaff. Whereas when you look at McMillan, it doesn't look so. It just doesn't look right.
Does anyone ever talk about Trey Young's inefficiency, number wise?
Oh yeah. We do.
Really bad.
It is. He's a high volume player.
He's a 30% 3-point shooter. He's a under 40% field goal, shooter. With his numbers are he's. Whew.
It's because he's getting the opportunity. He's added 2 shots more per game, right? Yeah. So he's increasing his volume, but his threes tanked. It's at 30%. He's a career 35.
And what's crazy is I think he's more caught up with the Steph Curry comparison and narrative than he is the efficiency thing. And I think if he would tone it down a little, I think if he would just take normal threes, that he'd be a better shooter. But he's just, I think I mean, since he runs the franchise. I mean, they have carte blanche in that franchise. Um, he has some really good relationships in that franchise, with like the team owner's son, and Quavo, and they're a little group. He does what he wants to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I remember his rookie year, a couple veterans on the team, sat me down and talked to me about an experience they had with him where they tried to talk to Trey, and he literally looked right through them. Like, who y'all think y'all talking to? Like, I'm the franchise. Like, I can do what I want to do. And you can't you can't hate on the kid. You can't hate on his success, but you have to question his efficiency, his leadership, his volume, the way he approaches the game. And a guy like Darius Garland has got Donovan Mitchell into the fold. And this is the best version of Donovan Mitchell I've ever seen. I'm gonna be honest. This is the best version of him. And if you're gonna match up Donovan Mitchell versus DeJounte Murray can't bully Donovan Mitchell. He can't lock up Donovan Mitchell. It's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be a rivalry that should be talked about more in these spaces and in the NBA overall.
I agree 100%. EK, hop in here. Your hands up. What you got?
Yeah, Mark. So I had a question for you, man. I agree with you that I think I'm leaning towards the whole Darius Garland right now being slightly better than Trae Young, and I feel like a lot of that. But it goes into like more of a deeper issue, like the story you told about some of the veterans who were trying to talk to Trae Young, who looked right through him. I think with a lot of these younger guys, when they get drafted by organizations that have been devoid of any type of superstar success or anything for a very long time, and that player shows promise that they can not only be a great player for that organization, but they can also be a beacon for either other players to come play with them and also to, increase business, right? They're going to sort of bend over for that player. And although it could seep into the locker room, into other parts of the building, it ultimately manifests itself on the court because you're seeing the limitations of Trae Young. Although he still is one of the best scorers in the league and things of that nature, he can take any shot he wants, right? And part of the reason why he can take any shot he wants is because he's been in Atlanta for 5 years and he's the guy. And he's been the guy because of the way he was propped up and the way he was, dare I say, sort of mentored and reared his rookie year to the point where it's like, I can take this shot. I can take this shot because they don't have anybody else who can do that. So when you bring another capable guard in who has the ability to do that, it may be hard to ask Trey to play off the ball more and to not shoot as many shots and to not shoot as many 35-footers and all these things that he normally customarily does. So I think your point kind of goes into a deeper issue of how these organizations treat these players and sort of rear these players and ultimately sort of puts these players on a path to who they will become in the future.
It's hard to tell a guy that averaged 27 and 9 not to do something, because he's a guy that, he could say, well, trade me. And people will come out of the woodwork to get him because he was an all NBA player, because of those numbers. And every team that has interest in him will say the same thing. Oh, we could get him to play differently in our system. You know what I'm saying? Not really understanding that Trae Young has played this way since high school, since averaging 40 points a game in high school, since going to Oklahoma and leading leading NCAA in points and assists. And now he comes to the NBA, and this is just him. I think Trae Young might be, he could be on the thought that says, well, I could lead the league in scoring. I could average this many points and be as inefficient and still win. I don't know. That could be his mindset. You talk about youth. Well, youth today, they think they're right. They think they know everything, and it's their turn. Like in the thought process is like, it's my turn. You old heads, you older players, man, y'all not doing what I'm doing. Because 27-9 is godly. If that was in the Jordan era, if that was in any other era, that would be godly. But we have a guy like Luka who's doing those type numbers, but actually better than those numbers, but a little bit more efficiently. And he took his team to the conference finals, and lost to the eventual champ. So I think, it's just hard to talk to these guys because of the numbers.
And then when you put out that Tyrese Halliburton is playing better, they don't like hearing that.
He is.
It's the truth, though.
But I've been a Halliburton fan forever, and people were like, "Nah, he's just mid." I had a guy tell me that he was a dumbed down version of Lonzo Ball, and I felt like he was better than Lonzo Ball because I felt like when you look at the flash and the hype and everything Lonzo brings to the table, that's great, but efficiency. A guy right now is averaging 20 and 10, and he's taking a team out of the cellar, you know what I'm saying, and brought them on the forefront. He's good. He's really good. I'm glad they got him out of Sacramento.
Yeah, just rub it in, rub it into all those Kings fans.
Wait, so you guys are actually saying that Trae Young could arguably be the number 3 guard in the East?
Dude, you missed the show in the beginning.
Wow.
You wanna know my rankings? I'll tell you my rankings.
Point guards?
Yeah, I'll give you my point guards. 1 is Luka, 2 is Tyrese, 3 is Steph, 4 is Shea, 5 is DeJounte, 6 is Mitch, 7 is Trae, 8 is Garland. From production standpoint.
And you're putting Garland under Trae because of
pure volume production and Garland missed time.
No Dame time?
Dame missed time too. Dame's missed time too. So
Jaws missed time. Dame's missed time. Yeah.
Don't let Josh see your rankings.
That's a pretty good.
Man,
that's a pretty good list.
You on me.
Oh well. So that's what I'm saying. It's production. Like this isn't like my eye test. This is when you get the numbers, you put them all up to it, and you assign a weighted value to each statistic. The players that I named have contributed to more statistical success in that order, right? So, like,
but Mark,
yeah.
Oh yeah, but Mark, going back to my Trae Young point, you're right. It's hard to tell a guy to change up what he can do when he's averaging those type of numbers. But when you average those type of numbers, I think there's an expectation that comes with that from the organization and from fans. It's like if you're averaging damn near 30 and 10 every year, we need to be knocking on the door of a championship, right? And so when that's not happening, right, then do you have to look at yourself and say, okay, I'm putting up these numbers and it may be a bit inefficient, but we're not even close to winning a championship? Or do you just continue and say, you know what, I'm just going to do it, and eventually, hopefully, one day or 1 year, we'll get there? Like, what do you do?
He's one player away from not having any excuses. So the issue was, Kevin Huerter is just mid. Okay, he's gone. All right, and he's doing well on the other team, shooting career high numbers.
Yeah, he's lighting it up. He ain't doing well. He's lighting it up.
That's actually has a 6-game win streak in the NBA. All right, Sacramento. Everybody laughed at. Okay. John Collins doesn't care. Once John Collins is gone, then what? You know what I'm saying? Then what is going to be his excuse? The problem is going to be that the style of play that Trae Young is playing is empty. These are empty stats to a certain extent. If you can't dump... So I judge a lot of players, point guards, whatever, based on what do you remember them by without them scoring? Do you remember a winning play that they've made without them scoring? We always have to go to Michael Jordan. Got to go to Michael Jordan. We remember the fact that he made game-winning passes. As much as we critique LeBron, we can remember his game-winning passes. We can remember his game-saving block. We can remember those things as well as game-winning shots. So for these elite players like a Dame Lillard, Do you remember him doing anything to help his team win other than shooting the basketball? That's how you judge greatness to a certain degree. What are you doing off the ball that helps your team win? Are you making winning plays, or do you have empty stats? We talk about James Harden. He made it into the top 75 playing in Mike D'Antoni's system, but now can you win? No. We talk about Kevin Garnett. You talk about Kevin Garnett. We talk about stop blocks, rebounding, his attitude, his mental, the mid post. We could name it as a great. We talk about Tim Duncan the same way. We talk about all the greats, the iconic guys the same way. But when we talk about some of these guys, we talk about their empty stats. And that's the question. What do you value more, winning or the stats? When I critique Joel Embiid, I know you don't like it. I know you love Doc Rivers or whatever, but I still, and I'm gonna say this, maybe he heard me. He's done more this year, like diving for the ball. Like, this is 25 games in, bro. You don't dive for loose balls 25 games into the season, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's hurt now. You ain't got that kind of body, bro. You can't be diving, doing all that. But the fact that he's sacrificing of his body and self shows me personally that he's trying to win.
Oh, he knows this is it.
He must have heard me. He had to, because I dog him every opportunity I get. I'm like, you're not in shape. All you care about is scoring. You know what I'm saying? You and your Euro steps and you dribbling the full court. You're 7'1". Like, chill. So that's what I wonder about these players. So now the conversation has always been, can we get Trae off the ball? You know what I'm saying? And he's never wanted to. So the fact that he's off the ball now and getting more shots, but he's become more inefficient, he literally could go to ownership and be like, you got to get Nate McMillan out of here. He wanted me off the ball. I played off the ball. I got more shots, and my stats are down because I'm not an off-the-ball player. But he's always mimicked his game after Steph Curry. And Steph Curry is literally arguably one of the best off-the-ball players we've ever seen in history.
He may be the best.
Is the flaw who's flawed right now? Is it Trae or is it everybody else?
I will say this. They went all in on the off-ball experiment by trading for DeJounte Murray. Because DeJounte Murray is not an off-ball guard. Like and like, you're compounding it. And this is like, people don't like the term roster construction, right? Like, they don't want to sit down and say, why did this roster fail? Because it's boring work for some. Y'all just want to see the highlights and the dunks. But like, understand, when they made that trade, that sealed Nate McMillan's fate. It sealed Travis Schlink's fate. It sealed John Collins' fate. DeAndre Hunter, Clint Capella, everybody on this Hawks squad to Trae Young playing off ball. And if Trae Young were to go say, yo, like, we're winning some, but we're not where we need to be. I'm playing off ball, but like, it's not working the way it's supposed to work. And if they turn around and do that, like, that is an epic failure of roster construction.
Nate McMillan will be fired. Both your guards in your backcourt are shooting 30% from the three-point line. They both are young, big contract guys. If they go in and say it's Nate's fault, then it's Nate's fault. Let's be clear.
But then how do you fix it? That'll end up being the question that we'll end up debating. We got 12:34 here on the time. I want to make sure that we talk about what we got coming up today. It's only 4 games. TNT, Philly, Brooklyn, 7:30. 8-9 Brooklyn, 8-8 Philly. Doc Rivers is a great coach. Tobias Harris had his coleslaw today. Matisse Thybulle isn't getting any run. Shake Milton's going to get 23 shots. We are here to shock the world. Ben Simmons is coming back. It's going to be must-see TV. Sacramento, 6-game win streak, 9-6, top 6 seed in the Western Conference in Memphis. That's a game they can win. Like if they win, like if they start winning these games with the players out and they get a comfortable lead, like this is only going to embolden them. And I want to give a big shout out to Malik Monk. I said when they picked him up, combining him with De'Aaron Fox was going to make De'Aaron Fox a better player. They have a chemistry and a relationship that works. And Malik, after spending a year on the Lakers, finally realized like he can ball and he doesn't have to start to ball. And like there's another guy who you should look out for Sixth Man of the Year, Malik Monk. They can do this. They are literally right now the best team in California. It's good stuff. Detroit, Denver, 9:00 league pass. Good luck. Detroit's bad. Cade Cunningham, like that's just that hurts. That hurts, man. And then the Lakers travel to Phoenix to take on the Suns, closing out at 10 p.m. on TNT. Do you think the Lakers can shock the world and beat the Phoenix Suns to go on a 3-game win streak? And just think about that. Like, that's a legit question because nobody believes in the Lakers that we have to ask, do we believe in them enough that they could win 3 games in a row? So your thoughts on tonight's game. We'll go to Malika first to talk some Nets and some Sixers. Look out for Saint from Nets Kingdom, Cash Spears season propaganda. They will likely have a pregame room, usually about an hour before. Malika, what are you looking forward to this evening with the Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers?
I'm looking for a win. I would like to see Ben go into Philly and perform, not let the atmosphere get to him and actually show he's mentally strong enough to get through that. I just want to win. I think we're going to. I think that some players may not play, but Ben is going to play. So I'm just looking for a W. Like that's what I'm looking for. We need some W's. We need to get back to 500. Period. So nothing to. I'm not. I'm not looking for anything more than that. Can I mention the Lakers game?
Yeah, go ahead.
With the Lakers, I like the way Anthony Davis is playing. When he's healthy and really into it, he can. I mean, he looks like that number one option that he should be to me. So because I love the way Anthony Davis is playing, Chris Paul won't be on the floor. We'll see. Like, I don't think the Lakers are out of it. I think, depending on how AD is and how he comes into the game, and I think they could possibly win that game. I mean, any matchup, that's the thing about the NBA. You don't know what team is going to show up, what effort or whatever they're going to get that night, whether their shots are going to go down. I think the Lakers got a chance. Plus, I have an agenda. I just don't think I don't want the Lakers in that bottom 3 because I don't want Pelicans getting that pick. But that's a whole nother issue. I think that the Pistons, the Rockets, and the Spurs, are going to be mainly fighting for that. But yeah, that's what I want to say about the Lakers. I think AD is in his stride, even though LeBron definitely won't be there. But they seems to be playing okay without LeBron. So that's
yeah. I shout out to Evan Moore. I don't count the Pistons. I'm sorry, bro. I just don't count. I don't count the Pistons, man. Like, I'm sorry.
We mean count the Pistons what?
Well, so the Lakers technically have already won 3 because they beat the Pistons, but like I don't count the Pistons.
No, the Pistons are in that. They're in the sweepstakes.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to be technically correct, I will give you your point, Evan. A win in Phoenix will be number 4. EK, what are you looking forward to tonight?
My brother, I'm looking forward to the Lakers because the Lakers, up until this point, have been just awesome, entertaining TV. And point about Anthony Davis, they've been on the 3-game winning streak. I know you don't count Detroit, but the rest of the NBA does. So we'll just go ahead and count them. They were on a 3-game winning streak, and Anthony Davis has only attempted 3 3-point shots in the 3-game winning streak. Only 3. He is shooting around 61%, and all of his scoring seems to be in the mid-post, really in the paint. So if he continues to play that way, even when LeBron comes back, they're going to be complete. They're going to be very, very dangerous to deal with. And also, I'm also looking forward to Philly and Brooklyn. And the main reason why isn't because of the Ben Simmons coming back. It's not because of anything like that. It's because we finally get a chance to see how great Glenn Rivers, how great you think he is. Because all of a sudden, you can't blame Harden, can't blame Embiid, can't blame anybody. So if you go in there and get blasted by 35 points, all of a sudden we're going to have to look and say, is he really a top 15 coach? Because the top 15 coach isn't getting blasted by 35 points. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. I know what's going to happen. I think most people, if they're honest, they know what's going to happen. Even you, Chris, you also know what's going to happen. And you're setting yourself up to deal with the disappointment. And it's okay. And I'm here for you, brother.
So, like, you could tell it's karma because in the middle of that, the McDonald's app commercial popped up on my screen again. Like, the world tries to lob ungreatness at you, right? Like, just the opposite of greatness. So, like, if the Sixers were to lose by 35 to the Brooklyn Nets, I'd be okay. Like, we're about to throw out Shake Milton, DeAnthony Melton, maybe Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, and Paul Reed.
But you have Glenn, and Glenn is great.
Right? Oh yeah, no, he is absolutely great.
Okay, that's
I see a great 22-point loss coming. Like how I did that there. You can lose great too, EK. That's the problem you don't understand.
The mental manipulation is amazing, but I won't let you do it. I won't let you complete it. But
wait. So if he loses great, he's not great. That's what you're telling me.
If you are a great coach, that's all I'm saying. And you have this thing about Doc being a great coach and all these type of things. If he's that great, let's see what he can do. Because the only time I've seen him in a huddle is when he said, hey, listen, if we play hard, we're going to win at the end of the game. That's what he says to his players. He's Tony Robbins. He's a motivational speaker. He's not a coach. That's what he is.
Well, hey, there are different.
It's how all the NBA guys talk. They only let you listen to that much.
Yeah,
in the things. They let you say a little bit more, but that's all they're allowed to let you hear.
Yeah, like they do a good job editing EK.
Okay.
Like,
so EK, you're setting us up for a monumentous day. If God, I don't know how, but say for instance, Philly were to win this game, do you know we would not be able to shut my brother up? Like, he would literally have a spacious room with no speakers other than himself for the first 30 minutes, and he would just talk about how great Doc Rivers is. Please don't set us up for this, please.
I'm not. Because it's not going to happen.
Okay,
but
again,
crazier things happen.
He doesn't believe that. That's the joke. I don't care what you say, Chris.
Let me get Micah in here. Micah, who is starting to realize the greatness of Doc Rivers because he sees Jason Kidd struggle, and I understand what it's like seeing a coach have to develop, in real time, and the comfort of having that greatness of Doc Rivers is not on the Mavs sideline, and I think Micah would appreciate that. But unfortunately, he will be in Philly coaching the 76ers to greatness, win or lose. Micah, what are you looking forward to tonight?
Man, I'm looking forward to Phoenix and LA because I still can't stand Phoenix. So I'm ready for any chance to piss on their grave. So there's that. But real quick, just in response to that one comment, I think Steve Kerr is a great coach, and he just got blasted by 40. So there you go.
So is EK, is Steve Kerr not a great coach?
Steve Kerr has won 4 of the last 8 championships. Doc last won in 2008, and he's also the author of the worst 3-3-1 deficits, probably besides Steve Kerr in NBA history. He had T-Mac after he came off his first scoring championship. It lost 3-1 there, and we all know what he did with the Clippers. Oh, not once but twice.
So
2
I
iterations of the Clippers.
like how the
Stop.
question is about Steve Kerr.
Stop.
And
Let's
you are
stop
still
this.
talking about Doc Rivers. Like
I brought
that
up- I brought up
tells
Steve
you
Kerr. I
the
brought up Steve Kerr.
greatness. That tells you the greatness of Doc Rivers. You can't even answer a Steve Kerr question.
I did. You just weren't listening. I said he
No.
won 4 of the last 8
I
championships.
heard a whole bunch of Doc in there. I didn't hear yes, Steve Kerr is a great coach or
Steve
no.
Kerr's a great coach. He's a great coach.
Thank you.
He's won 4 of the last 8 championships. What has Doc won in the
A
last 4 of the
championship.
last 8 years? When?
66% of his games.
He won a championship. The last time he won a championship, I wasn't allowed to drink.
65.4.
I couldn't drink the last time
65.4.
he won a championship.
Hey, you know what? You probably shouldn't drink.
I mean-
It's bad for you.
Is it his fault he gets stuck with perennial all-star chokers? I mean, is that Doc's fault or is that
Michael,
a roster issue?
count the all-stars.
No. Real
Count them.
talk. Okay, what is CP doing? What has CP done? But choke and choke, no matter who the coach is. Didn't Harden choke with D'Antoni? These dudes continuously choke with all these other coaches, but somehow we want to blame the one coach that they choked
Kawhi
with.
Leonard was a
because
2-time
it's-
champion and fell under the Glenn Rivers spell and got embarrassed in the bubble.
I don't even have to defend the greatness of Doc Rivers. Other people are defending the greatness.
Because you're putting the wool over their eyes, Chris. But they'll see at the end of the year.
Okay,
Everybody's
all
gonna be
right.
calling him Glenn.
Okay,
Everybody's gonna be
like
calling him Glenn.
again, empirical data is telling you are incorrect, sir. 65% win percentage since his time in Boston, right? Like I say this all the time. I do not subscribe to his coaching philosophy, right? That doesn't mean he's not a great coach, and y'all are just gonna have to eat it. It's really that simple.
We will see, sir.
All
Don't
right.
tell
tell.
yourself this because you have to live with him as a coach.
Thank you, Malika. Thank you, Malika. Thank you.
Yo, like it's
And
funny,
the
right?
basketball operations is not that much better. He should be out the league for what he did for his comments overseas.
You talk about Maury?
Yes, indeedy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Maury either. So like this is funny. Remember in the beginning of the season, everybody was like, "Oh my God, Doc Rivers needs to be gone. He needs to be fired," right? Just like Steve Nash. And then like what happened? Steve Nash got fired, and the team rebounded and is now about to be 500. They didn't fire Doc Rivers. Why? Because there was nothing wrong, and the team is now 500, despite also missing both their mega stars and their young star and their complementary players. Somehow he has this team at 500. So, like, what am I missing to help explain better, right? Because, like, if you go look at the lineups, like, we're not throwing out world-beating lineups either. Like, I like Maxi's talent. I like Maxi's potential. But Maxi took like 30 shots and made 10. Tobias Harris, like, again, people look at the contract. Pro's pro, player's player, produces wherever he's asked to play. And yet we're 500. So, like, even if we were to lose by 35, like, how does that take away from the accomplishments of being a 500 competitive basketball team, despite losing your potential MVP candidate, Joel Embiid, now twice, Harden out for a month, Maxi's now out for a month, Korkmaz has been out for a week and a half. Like, he won a game playing PJ Tucker 30 minutes where he didn't take a shot. And then you want to say, we'll see what he does. Like, he's been doing it all season. That's what gets me. That's what gets me. All right, we got Dre Jam. Dre James up here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me shoot a follow back. Dre, what are you looking forward to tonight in the NBA? All right. That's dope. Good stuff. Love it. Mark, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing people talk more about why is it that um, these trainers, like a lethal shooter, they advertise themselves so much about being the greatest and so forth. Mind you, I've had 5 guys hit over 200 threes in the past 5 years. Anyway, in a season. But Anthony Davis, my man brought up the point that Anthony Davis has only taken 3 3-pointers during his streak of success that he's had. But people advertise themselves as being the greatest or whatever. I mean, I look forward to seeing Ben. Anyway, yeah, I look forward to seeing Ben have a breakout game. I think the disrespect that's been associated with his name in the past 2 years is it's sad. It's really sad because knowing the kid, it's a great guy. He wants to win. He definitely has a goon mentality. Like I don't know where people get this he's soft ideal from. Like he's a human being like everybody else. I really don't understand why people think that they could be in his shoes and deal with things better. Like they really come like that. They really come like, oh, if it was me and I was getting paid that much money, yeah, that's not it. Like this guy's a goon. You don't make all defense. You're not damn near the defensive player of the year 3 straight years and not be a goon. And now that he's physically able to, he's probably 80% right now. And you see what he's capable of doing. And this Brooklyn Nets team is arguably the perfect team for him. He's never had a team with shooters and finishers like this in his life. Never. You talk about Seth Curry. You talk about what's the white kid name, the shooter, the starter,
Harris.
Joe Harris. You talking about KD, Kyrie. You got the Asian kid who's leading the
In
NBA
Utah.
3-point shooting
Yeah,
percentage.
Utah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we like? You talk 5 weapons shooting the ball that at 6'11, he's grabbing the rebound, he's pushing the ball. If you don't stop him, he's dunking. If you do try to stop him, he sees the entire floor at 6'11 and he can make passes. Like this team, if Ben gets all the way healthy and Kyrie just plays basketball and doesn't do these press conferences, because he's gonna get suspended again. He was close last night.
He
They
was.
pushed him.
He was. He can't say no.
He can't help himself. He's Pookie.
He did. He said no though. Like,
yeah, but
No,
then
he didn't.
Somebody slid back in and asked the question again in a different
I
way.
think Nets PR needs to do a better job as well. But
No,
yeah.
he needs to get a call from Marshawn Lynch, and he needs to be like, "I'm only here so I don't get fined."
Well, he can't. He would get fined for actually doing that. That's the funny part about it.
No, you only have to become available. Am I correct? You only have to be available. You do not have to take questions. You can be available.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look that up
because that would make more sense than what he's doing. Like, and somebody's talked about Jaylen Brown earlier. I've known JB since 9th grade, and he's a smart kid. He's just not an intelligent kid. The fact that he was like, on Twitter, yeah, good energy, and did not realize what that was about, and then actually tweeted, I thought those were the Omegas outside the arena.
But
it
Mark,
just
I had
shows
family
you.
members that thought they were the Omegas too because of the colors.
Yeah.
At first glance.
But your family members don't have the platform that Jaylen Brown has, and your family
That's
members.
a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about, so now JB is being looked at in that light. You know what I'm saying? That he's not trying to be looked at in. Like it's a sensitive time, it's a sensitive topic, and I just think you have to be more intelligent with your platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like I love this space because I love the way, Chris gives everybody an opportunity to talk. He's conscious of time, and I know I talk a lot, but you have to respect people that respect the platform that they have and they use it correctly. These young men have to understand that as well. Their livelihoods are at stake, and they need to protect their livelihood. You know what I'm saying? Get the money, and if you want to make change, but you got to get the money.
Well, if Jaylen Brown wants to hire me to help him, I'm here.
Someone please hire the Olivia Pope lady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's still out there. She's still out there. She's a real person. You know what I'm saying? She's a real person. I mean, and she can help a lot of these guys with these conversations. You know what I'm saying?
It's look, in the military, they have PR, right? So like it's all these photo shots that you saw during the Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, like they're staged. And like that's what these players need is somebody to stage them correctly. Because what he was trying to do in showing support was a nominal and responsible thing for his position, but he didn't have somebody there to say, hey, you can do that this way, which clears out any ambiguity, makes your position clear, right? And then you can keep it moving. And the players used to have those type of people. They were attached with the agents, and now they don't have that because we have a new type of agency system.
You just need to hire Judy Smith. Her name is Judy Smith. She's the person that the Olivia Pope character was based on. She's a real person. She worked in the White House. She covered and destroyed all the scandals and all the stuff. Just pay the lady. She don't even cost that much. Just pay the lady. Okay.
She's good.
She's amazing. She's the best. Like, pay the lady, save your money. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you donate to all these funds, all these charities. Donate to your own personal fund. Save your money. Because guess what? Kyrie, when it comes time to that big contract that in 2025 that he's going to be due, his bye-bye contract, that, like, guys are going to be getting $350, $400 million contracts in 2025 because of the new TV deal that's going to come in. That's going to be either 75 or 79 billion dollars, which doubles NBA salaries. Like, he's going to want that 350, 400, 500 million dollar contract, but
ain't no teams. I don't think any team's going to give it to him. But here's something else. It's going to be more, and like we're just talking about the current deal, re-upping the current deal. Like, they're going to be bringing in streaming revenue more and more and more, right? Like, we are talking where the NBA can literally see itself into $100 billion operation.
Just from what you're saying, Chris?
Yeah.
No. I don't think people understand. So currently, I think the highest paid player makes what, 50 million?
Yeah, Steph is highest on average, right? Almost 50 million next year.
Okay, so the current TV deal is around 41 or 45 billion. If the TV revenue, which the NBA players are splitting with the owners, if the TV revenue gets to $100 billion, that means that in 2025, there will be a player that signs a 5-year. There could be a player, that could sign a 5-year, $600 million contract.
I think it would be 7. It would be stretched out a little bit more. I think
the players would fight that. They'd fight that.
I think they would, but I think the negotiation would end up.
That would be That would be
But we're talking
because then you have to think about it. Because if I'm a player, I'm gonna think, well, I don't want to stretch it out that long because when's the next TV deal up again? And I love my free agency. These new players love and it's LeBron's fault. I'm gonna
They
say
love
it.
the
I'm gonna say it out
mobility.
loud. That's right. It's LeBron's fault. LeBron said, "I gave Cleveland, dreary Cleveland, all these years, the best young years of my life. I gave to Cleveland. I'm gonna have some fun." He went to Miami, had a boat dock. You know what I'm saying? Then he went back to Cleveland, won him a championship. And said, "All right, I did what I did. I'm going to L.A." Got houses all over the place. He's living it up. Like, guys want to live that life. They want to spend that money accordingly. Their wives, their fiancés, their girlfriends, their side chicks. They want to live a certain lifestyle. They want to enjoy their life while they're young. It's a new generation. I'm not mad at them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at them. But yeah, like, think about a player making $1.5 million a year. Excuse me, a game. And he misses a game for personal reasons. What are the fans going to say? They go crazy now when guys were making $500,000 a game miss a game, or $400,000 a game miss a game. What are they going to say when they publicly know that you make $1.5 million a game and you have the audacity, the gall, the unmitigated gall to miss a game because what? Your wife's having a baby? You're not a doctor. You can see that baby when it's born. Like,
it's bad, bro.
It's gonna be bad.
It's already bad. It's already
social
bad.
media. It gives everybody a voice to give their opinion. Like, I mean, Golden State Warriors, 4 players, 4 starters missing a whole game. Like, how dare you? I bought tickets for this game. How dare you miss a game? How much these tickets cost?
So like, this is the funniest thing that's gonna happen, right? Because Mark is telling you the truth, and you down there might not understand this. Like, Kawhi Leonard we talked about this yesterday, skated without the same scrutiny as, let's say, Anthony Davis, right? Imagine if Kawhi Leonard was making 3 times more than what he's making this season. Okay? Like, that's what we're talking about. Imagine, like, over the course of the last 2 seasons, the Clippers would have paid Kawhi Leonard and Paul George a combined $500 million. And they would have played less than 120 games together.
And mind you, the teams don't lose money because the money is already guaranteed. It's TV revenue. The TV revenue is crazy with the gambling and now the streaming services. Like, like, this is inhuman. A guy making $100 million a game, $100 million a year, 1.2 mil a game, or somebody might get higher. Like, this is unreal.
Michael Jordan's highest salary was $33 million, I think.
Yes, it's yeah, that ballpark. Yeah.
Right. Jokic, $419 million. Chris Paul, $419 million. Beal, $428. Lillard, $449. Steph, $470. Kevin Durant, $498. LeBron James, $528. That is insanity, guys.
Why do you think Michael Jordan doesn't like this generation? Why do you think the older guys, they despise this generation for missing games, for all the things we talk about, for not winning, for not working on their game? Because back in those days, guys like Karl Malone, look at how many games Karl Malone missed in his career. It's like a handful. Like, you would play 82 games every year.
It's crazy. LeBron James made $500 million in his career.
And then had $1 billion deal with Nike.
Yeah. And if he had been born 10 years later, we would be able to have definitively said he would have made $1 billion playing basketball.
That's just on court, though. Like,
I know, like, on court.
This is sick. This is sick. The kind of money that these players are being paid is sick. And, like, I'm gonna tell you real talk, it bothers me when I go in NBA facilities on a regular basis and they're empty. They're
Dead
empty.
empty.
Guys are not working on their game like they should. Guys are leaving the facilities. They're going to Chick-fil-A. They're getting on 2K. Like it's sickening. Like, especially understanding, like, they're so young, they don't understand what they're missing out of. And the older guys who literally would live in the gym, and Gilbert Arenas, when he wasn't getting playing time, he would sleep in the gym. He was living on his per diem. He spent all his money before the draft. He thought he was going to be a first round pick.
And he wasn't.
He was making 1,000 shots a day. To make 1,000 means you have to take 1,500.
Rip
So
stayed
can
in
you?
the gym too, man. Rip Hamilton
Yes. Can
stayed
you?
in the gym.
There
I
are
have to
no.
leave. I just wanted to say
Oh,
real quick, Mark. I put, Landon sent me a link. I put a link up in a jumbotron about Cam Johnson's percentage and other people going down after working with Lethal Shooter. I thought Landon thought also that you will find that to be interesting based on what you said.
Hilarious.
But it's a Sports Illustrated article, it looks like. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you saw that.
all right, appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod. Next show is next week, or you got one? No, because Thanksgiving, you're moving
No,
it
I got
back.
one Friday. I may pull off
Friday.
the Cavs Friday. I'm gonna do the Cavs Friday because I have been talking about it on my timeline. Talked about it today. It makes sense to do that when plus the draft went back. So Friday would be the Cavs. I'll get Brandon to do it with me, and we'll just talk about the Cavs on Friday. Friday around noon, I'll post it, and hopefully you guys come through. Thanks.
All right. You should, because I'm not doing it. I'm not going to host a show on Friday. I'll be on the road. So make sure you tap into Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod. Landon has got a piece getting ready to come out. Make sure you shoot a follow. Landon, what else you got going on in the world of journalism?
Nothing, man. I'm not going to the practices. I'll get stuff in there when I can, but I'm focused on the entertainment side of things, since that's bringing in more traffic right now.
All right. EK, what you got going on? Hoops Coalition. Or Coalition Hoops, I should say, on Instagram.
Yeah, bro. So anybody who likes, obviously, NBA, NCAA, follow me on IG and on here. I do daily uploads, giving analysis on NBA games and also some NCAA action as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm looking forward to some of the college games this week, and I'm going to do a big sort of aggregate of college game analysis starting next week. So that's what I'll be doing.
All right. Make sure you hit up Justin Patton, man, so we can get you started on your way to get some of your content up on our YouTube, and we're gonna start building on Instagram too, as well. Man, so much to do. Mark, what do you got, man? What's you doing this week?
Nothing really. I'm going to the USC Notre Dame game. Got tickets on the 50-yard line. So I'm gonna be enjoying that. I mean, that's really it, man. Just going to football games. I haven't been a football fan in a long time, and I'm back at it. So just enjoying that, and because I got to get back on the road. I got a commercial to film in South Carolina pretty soon, and got to get out to Sacramento and Orlando soon to work with some clients. So just enjoying the weekend, man. Having fun, man.
All right. Froyo's Jukebox is back in session. Check it out Saturday, November 26th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Michael Jackson versus Stevie Wonder. And when I say versus, I mean loses too. Because Stevie Wonder is better than Michael Jackson. This is a fact.
Whoa.
It is an inconvenient truth for some, but still a fact.
Chris, you need to relax, bro. You need to relax, my brother. You need to relax, bro.
Whoa.
Who has Thriller? Who made Thriller, bro?
That is like the weakest argument for Michael Jackson's supremacy, right?
Okay, who made Invincible?
The idea of Thriller, like he had a good idea and it was great. That doesn't make him better than Stevie Wonder.
What collection of songs? What album does Stevie Wonder have that's better than Thriller? Please answer the question.
Why are you so adamant and combative?
Because this is
What?
nuts.
I was focused on entertainment. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's definitely
Songs in the Key of Life, Hotter Than July. What do you want? Like, Prince is better. Akon said it, right?
Akon got a hairline, so he's saying a whole bunch of stuff he probably don't believe now.
Okay. All right. Look, it's okay. It's an inconvenient truth for some. It's all right.
Wow. You want to know how I know this is nuts? Because nobody else is up here as mad as I am, which means they either don't care or they're used to you saying these things and they just tune it out. I'm gonna go with the latter.
There's only 3 people up here. Like, it's not a full stage. It's a holiday week, man. Light week.
Nasty work.
Okay. The Jazz Soul of Little Stevie. Tribute to Uncle Ray, the 12-year-old genius live. Like, from 62 until now, the dude has been rocking. He's just better. He even makes decent Christmas music. Decent.
Chris, we're gonna pray for you, brother. We're gonna get you right, man.
So
we're gonna get you right, brother.
I had to change my profile pic just so you can kind of see what I feel about that. You know, I don't know. I don't have a picture with Stevie. I never spent time with Stevie, but Mike was my guy. So you crazy.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna put it out there in a tweet, and y'all can tell me how crazy I am. That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna hit this button.
Chris, I'll send you the link after the article's.
Appreciate it, Landon. I'll get it out there. Hey, you down below, thank you for rocking here with us, talking ball. 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Brought to you by Slam Goods. Head over to slamgoods.com. Pick up the Kobe bundle. It's on sale, and they're going to sell out. It's on sale. It's going to sell out. Use promo code HoopSpaces, 15%. It's on sale. It's going to sell out. And I keep saying that so you can remember to go over to slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces, and you'll save yourself some extra coin. Tomorrow, we will have Yossi Goslin of Hoops Hype. Maybe Mike Scotto will drop by. We will talk about the 4 games tonight, and we will probably revisit this as people sleep on it and then realize, waking up, that Stevie Wonder is indeed better than Michael Jackson. Peace out. See you tomorrow.